up, guys? Welcome back to Truth and Transparency. Good afternoon. Thank you for, if you guys catch this on replay, you guys had no delay, but thank you for those live chatters, live viewers. Here we go. Here is your first clip today.
And that was where I really got interested in bloodstain pattern analysis. I was actually hired to analyze the stains and say what type it was, who this stain belongs to. Well, the movie where the dog says, "Squirrel," that's me. Squirrel. Well, can I do more with this? Not just whose blood's there, but how did the blood become there? How did this happen? What happened in between? All these other things that I can learn. And when I would go out to a crime scene, I would see the blood and I'm like, okay, collect it and analyze it later in the lab. How did this happen? How did this get here? And that's what made me want to study bloodstain pattern analysis and learn about how to do this. We had to, of course, document the scenes and we had to collect evidence while we were out there. So that's another aspect of what we had to do. Then we talked to the police officers. That's part of our job. One of my favorite parts of this was when a police officer was investigating a case and he had certain ideas, or perhaps a suspect had told him certain things have happened or didn't happen, whatever. And I could pick that apart. I could say, yes, that is true. That's supported by the evidence. Or no, that's not true. We talked this morning about the only thing that will never lie to you is the physical evidence. It's always telling you the truth. You've simply got to learn how to read that evidence.
Boom. Well, all I have to say is that is the state's expert witness, if this was to have gone to trial, Paulette Sutton. And she says it right there for us, which is 3 things I took away from that. I love when I get to talk to the police officers, the investigators. Hey, what are your working theories? What do you think that this means, right? I would hope that they would have taken to Paulette, hey, we believe that this happened, in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 1 minute, 30 seconds to 3 minutes. You think that they took that to her? The other thing I took away from it is that the evidence, the physical evidence does not lie to you, right? And then the last thing is you have to know how to interpret the evidence, right? Now, again, that is Paulette Sutton doing a little piece. Got to give props there. Anjanette Levy found that. Now here we had Bryan Kohberger talk with Etten and the family of Kaylee. And here's my thoughts.
Least, and I think people do forget that, the expert hired by the defense team, like that was their job to come up with other theories. And at the
Okay, I have to tell you guys this. If I hear one more person say that the job of the defense team is to do the job, you got to start from the beginning if you want to say that. The job of the prosecution, before it even becomes a prosecution, right? Why didn't they have an expert talking with them before they ever arrested anybody? Why isn't anybody asking themselves that? Why didn't they go and get the Cellbrite experts to look at any of the victims or the surviving roommate's cell phones? The Cellbrite experts. Why didn't they get anybody to look at that crime scene that was an expert before there was an arrest? Nobody there thought that this could have been done by more than one person. Nobody out of the 120 people thought that this could have been multiple weapons. Nobody was like, oh my gosh, how did the killer or killers leave? You're telling me that was not being discussed by a team of 120 egotistical maniacs? None of these people had an opinion. None of these people had opposing opinions. You're going to sit here and tell me that 120 people were all like, yeah, let's go to Olive Garden tonight. You can't even get 6 people on vacation to agree where to go to dinner, but 120 people that was involved in this case. If you want to break it down to just 75 of like, I don't know, FBI, the lab personnel. So if I hear another person say that the defense goes out and hires somebody with the state's money, okay, go out there and hire somebody that's going to do what? Here, this is what the state says. I need you to say this. No. If anyone's going to sign their name on the dotted line to a report that is going to be issued, that is like, we're talking 50 to 150 pages, sometimes more. You think especially when it's people that are both, that they've been a defense expert, they've been a prosecuting expert. The evidence is the evidence, right? It's science. It should be able to be interpreted multiple ways. That's the only thing I ever liked about science class, is that I felt like you could never be wrong. How could you tell me I'm wrong in a science experiment? Well, Lana, because you didn't write it the right way. I was like, oh, okay, so I have to learn how to write it the right way. But if I'm over here saying that multiple things can happen, it is what it is, right? That's the only thing I liked about science. I thought that science was math's like redheaded stepchild, because I'm like, dude, math, man. Right? Answers. Science just brings out more, more possibilities, more problems. I would always tell my roommate that, by the way. Give a shout out to her. She runs a fucking, she's a big old CSI running labs over there in North Carolina.
And I mean, Bryan Kohberger, we were both in the courtroom, pled guilty, admitted to the murders. So
exactly, you said it right there. Right? He pled guilty. He pled guilty. When you want to say admitted to the murders, if you want to use that language, I just would say he pled guilty. And what did he get in return? He wasn't going to die. Okay? Like, plead guilty and your life is spared. Okay? And it is called a plea deal. And then when Bill Thompson wants to say it's not a deal, well, yeah, it is. You were going for the death penalty. It's a deal then, right? And all he had to say is, yep, I plead guilty. Yep, I did it. You do know that there's a murder weapon involved here. You do know that there was bloody clothes involved here, gloves. Where's any of that stuff at? I don't care what anybody says ever. I want to know what they say, okay? And then you compare it. That's what every investigator does. That's like why they say, hey, we can't tell you certain things because we know that there's things that only the killer would know, right? That term. That if you're going to tell me something about the crime scene nobody else knows, that's something that the killer would only know, right? Well, here, yep, guilty, signed, dotted, boom, done.
What do you make of these people that are really hanging on to, these other theories that are now?
Okay. What do you make of these people? Why would anybody go and interview somebody and say, what do you make of these people that are reading a report and agreeing with an expert's opinion? What do you make of these people? Like that we got some like disease, these people that read a report from an expert and we have our own eyes, ears, mouths. Like, well, let me tell you what I think. I think that from jump, the only people that have been lied to have been us and the parents from one party. I've only been able to catch one party in lies, and that's the state. I've read through every single document that has come across this case. Every single one. I cannot find a single document where Ann Taylor or anybody to do with her party is lying. The only people that have lied to the Goncalves family, as well as the other families, have been the same people that, in the same breath, it sucks to say this, but were trusted. When are you picking and choosing to trust them? They're lying. They are liars. That's in a case of the law of going to a trial. That's how a jury would ever come back and say not guilty. Not because they believe that this person is innocent, but they're not guilty because I cannot go guilty because I don't trust this. I don't trust, reasonable doubt.
Floating around.
I'm not really sure why they're still hanging on there. I mean, I don't know why they're trying to fight for him when he didn't fight for himself and neither is his own family. So
I understand that. I love how Christy come out and said that. She's like, why are they fighting for him? I'm not fighting for Bryan Kohberger. Let's not get this twisted. I'm fighting for the truth. I've always fought for the truth. And I'm not fighting really much for anything other than if you want to say fighting is covering it and showing like, hey, this is what mainstream media won't show you. If that's considered fighting, I'm more interested in, if I want something to change, if I want a culture to change, okay, we can't go fake what was wrong with the culture and think something's going to change. If we really want nobody to ever go through something like this again, we want to find out how this was even possible. All of those things for this not to happen again. If somebody out there that was part of this, they're just going to go be part of something else to destroy more lives, you know? I'm not fighting anything. And I think that the word that comes to mind for me is, I'm questioning. And the only thing that I'm not questioning is my comprehension skills, my IQ. I'm questioning, wow, this crime scene is nothing like they said it was. They lied to this family. So why aren't they questioning it? Right? Well, what if they just believe that Bryan Kohberger was being protected by the universities because they didn't want to pay out some big ass astronomical amount of money because they're really ultimately responsible? Isn't that what the whole lawsuit's about?
So why are these people out here, trying to, make this a different story than what it is? I don't know if it's just lack of knowledge, just really not knowing the details, maybe being just very close-minded and this warped sense of mind, just, reading, you can read both sides of the documents, this expert and this expert. Maybe they're just cherry picking what they want to fit their theory, to fit their analogy of what happened, their speculation, because we know for a long time, it was pure speculation because there was the gag order. We were all grasping at straws, you know what I'm saying? We all had little bits and pieces.
I agree with Christy there. Yep. There was a gag order. But guess what? The state didn't follow that gag order. As you guys, as a family, well know, that the people that were violating the gag order was the prosecution, and they had been violating it so much so that Steve made it very known through Shannon Gray. Immediately, they called the meeting, and we have the meeting minutes, and he is literally calling out the prosecution for leaking shit. Not the defense. Okay. So the gag, yeah, you could say there was a gag in this case, but Dateline to end up with the defendant's phone, gag my ass. I want to see somebody go down for this leak. And if I was these parents, I would be demanding that this investigation reveals something, because it prevented me and my family and the other families from having the trial, so that we could actually, because they wanted to sue the death penalty. Okay. So that's how I feel about that. Okay, now let's go to cherry picking. There's one thing that that we don't need to cherry pick. There's no trails. Okay, there's no trails out of that house. Nothing. There's no way that anybody could say that this happened between 1 minute and 30 seconds to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Those are just facts. This did not happen between 1 minute and 30 seconds to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Because if it was in fact Bryan Kohberger, him and him alone, how could he, as the trial run represented, they couldn't even do that. They weren't cleaning anything up. They weren't taking off their booties and transferring their clothes and putting them in a bag and then taking the knife and wrapping it up and putting it in something else and then putting on, somebody's clothing, whether it's the victims that were there, let's use Ethan's, whatever. There was no sampling of any of that. This was not done in that amount of time. There is no, so that's to me is anything else that anybody wants to talk about. That's where everybody can have their opinions and it's science. So yes, this is yes. But I think that those two things right there, though, the time and that there's no secondary transfer for the trail of footsteps, booties, doesn't matter.
Pieces. And it just created a perfect storm. And it's like this petri dish and all that's left is just the nothing but bacteria that just continues to grow, So, it needs a big dose of antibiotic.
Yeah.
Heavy duty.
So Shannon was like, I was a little upset with the way that the plea deal went. And I felt like it wasn't quite, I didn't want to fight this battle for the rest of my life.
A little upset? Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't want to fight this for the rest of my life. And I thought that more could be done. One thing Shannon did say was, Steve, that when somebody pleads for a mass murder and waives their right, never in the history have they ever had it overturned and got like a retrial. So a mass murder and then waiving your rights to the appeal means he goes away. Even though I thought without like the details of him saying whether the murder weapon was and different things, was going to leave it open for people to, play these games in the true crime communities. So I think I'm right, but maybe in the reality of things, he's never going to get an appeal.
I'm confused at who's playing games though. Again, I don't watch. If I was watching people, I would never be able to do the research that I do. I would never be able to then aside from the research, then actually come out here and put all the time into the videos. There's no time for me. So I have no idea people playing games. I finally got to see for the first time that mainstream media has now talked about the Bryan Kohberger case again after the crime scene photos have come out with not just the crime scene photos. They weren't going to talk about that, but it's the reports. Because here, mainstream media won't move on anything unless they can get a credible source to provide them with material. Because they're all about covering their ass. Like, I'm not going to get sued. They got to go through legal and stuff like that. Well, I want to say for the first time ever, I am now on cloud 9 because I think, remember before, guys, I was like, mainstream media, the media coalition, nobody's pulling funds together to say, let's go buy this entire discovery. How much is it? Now, I think it's worth to these media outlets, okay, let's go, we're going to buy everything that we've been doing. Do you want to know how these reports and the pictures even got out? Do you want to know how? That didn't happen because of mainstream media. Do you want to know how it happened that Idaho State Police had to release those 2,700 photos? Mainstream media didn't do that. Give yourselves a round of applause for the reports plus the pictures Idaho State Police had to put out. Give yourself a round of applause for the brains of people being able to dissect that. No, they're hiding behind something. They're hiding behind an order that did not apply to them.
That's not realistic. His DNA is in the crime scene, and he's never going to ever be. If he gets an appeal, then
His DNA is on a foreign object that's foreign to that crime scene. That's the truth. That's how it would be said. Okay, his DNA isn't found, mixed in with the blood or the DNA of any victim. His DNA is not on an object that it was a fixture from that room. It was a foreign object brought. If it's not theirs, it's a foreign object with foreign DNA on it.
The whole world gets an appeal. All the American cases get opened up, and you have DNA at the ground. Like, literally, what are you saying? You're going to say you're going to open up every single case, because that's really what you would be doing. You'd be setting a precedent. So,
yeah, that's the part I don't understand. The people who it seems like they forget that his DNA is on the knife sheath.
Well, and that's another part. That's another part that they explained, and they did a really good job. Is they said, Steve, it's not just there. So we know people would say that they dropped that.
It was planted,
sheet, but it was aspirated. So there's aspirated blood from, unfortunately, our daughter. And
no report says that there was aspirated blood. Okay, no report says that there was aspirated blood. If they've seen a report that says that, then they have something that none of us have. And that would be Paulette Sutton's original report, which I would love to know how anybody has that right now. Okay, to say that there was aspirated blood on that sheet, that's never been said anywhere in any report. It just hasn't. But I would like to see it. I'd love to see Paulette Sutton's report. I'd love to see a CSI lab report. I have seen no doubt. So, and if it exists, I'll come out and say that it exists. Here it is. Steve was right with this report that it says this, but I haven't seen it. And I read when they, I read them all. Not only do I read them all, I dissect the shit out of them. I don't just like, oh, here, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh God, okay, here, get out the whiteboard and start planting. Okay, where's this belong? Where's that belong? Okay, here's the scene. Now, this is aspirated blood. That's interesting because the aspirated blood that I see is on that beer pong table. I see aspirated blood on that beer pong table.
But that means it was under pressure. That means that the droplets were, to be technical, it was an aspirated, so it was under pressure. So they landed, and his DNA landed amongst that. So you couldn't just drop that sheaf afterwards and still have the aspiration there. So they're like, we were going to destroy that argument that it was dropped after the fact, because you couldn't have the victim's blood in the manner that it was there. So
it wasn't like smears where they could have just smeared some on it.
But when they tell you this, and then the rest of the world doesn't get.
I see a little bit of that. I see also, we have Paulette Sutton's reply. We have her rebuttal. I don't see anywhere in the rebuttal that she was going to be talking about aspirated blood. If that was not written down and presented as a rebuttal, you can't. That's the whole thing about reports, and that's the whole thing about deadlines. You can't come to the table with something new that you're just going to say, unless a judge would allow you to do that, which is you're not supposed to. If you have a finding, you have to write it down and put it in writing with your report. You can't just say, hey guys, guess what? Don't worry though. At trial, I'm going to say that it was blah, blah, blah. So where are we saying that it was written down? Send it to me. Email it to me. Email me where it says Paulette Sutton saying that it was aspirated blood. Is it in one of her findings where it could be one of the four things? Remember, I opened it up the way that I did for a reason. What is science? Interpretation of what? The evidence. It can go a bunch of ways.
To hear it, you get mad that they're getting out of their jobs. They have a job to do, and just because you make a plea deal, doesn't mean you don't have a responsibility to communicate to the rest of your community. This is what you would have done. They just say, "Wash my hands, I'm done," and we can't do that in our jobs. We can't just go to our coworker and say, "Let's make a deal." Well, what is it? Well, we don't have to do any more of our work. We're done. if we could do that, a lot of us would go to work every
Right, I
weekend
agree
and
with
make
that.
deals that we could get out of our
Think about that. Like, hey, let's just hey, you don't tell on me anymore, and I don't tell on you anymore, and we just both all keep collecting our 9 to 5, salary, don't tell on me anymore, I don't tell on you anymore, and let's just all act like we're doing our jobs.
our job. So I think we're going to try to work towards those type of things getting fixed, where you make a plea deal, but you still explain. Maybe you do a mock trial. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like, but I know it doesn't look like.
Ooh, I loved it when he said this. Okay. I was multitasking. So half of the stuff, probably like actually 90% of the stuff I have not heard, but I remember hearing mock trial. Steve, yes, that's actually what I want to create. I want to create a business that does mock trials for cases, but a little twist of it. So Steve, I'm actually going to send you an email about that, because speaking my language with that.
YouTube is going to do the trial for the next 4 years.
Well, and I think your case is unusual. I mean, it's just so.
He said he's like, YouTube is going to do a trial for that. I said I want to do a mock trial. I would need the material there. You can't really do a mock trial without the material, meaning I need the discovery. I need what they said that they were going to promise all of us, which is, hey, this is all, going to be unsealed. We can all have it. Well, now it's a price tag though. It's like, okay, price tag to show for us to be able to make sure that y'all aren't corrupt.
Watched. You know what I mean? Most people don't have to deal with what you guys have to deal with when there's.
See, the thing that I just don't appreciate is that when you don't have material and you're just making shit up, like, and going at people or that's ridiculous. Okay. It's the material has been presented. Here it is. Here are the reports. If you guys, I get it. Hitler set a precedent here. First time ever where a judge is calling an expert witness a conspiracy theorist. So I guess he made it the norm now. And so it's like anytime that an expert that's on the defense side, now they're a conspiracy theorist, because Hitler made that normal.
The plea deal. Has anyone been bothering you guys? I mean, like Christy was saying before we got on here, this latest document dump has kind of energized some of these like pro-burger people. I mean, are people bugging you guys, or do they respect you? Or
they like to throw our name out there a lot, and they like to, go back and look at old interviews or whatnot, and, call us liars about things and this and that. And the thing is, we never lied about anything. There may have been times during the case that we had been misinformed and we spoke, misinformed information, but contrary to what, some people might.
Who's been saying that and screaming that since day one, that you guys, the Goncalves, have been told things, and whether it's they're being lied to or maybe they just missed what was being said. And so like you're playing this game of telephone, but 99% of the time, I've always said that they have been 1000% given stuff, and they've been lied to. And so when they're repeating things, it's not them lying, it's they were lied to. So I'm agree with Christy all day with this. Like that's on the state, because I guarantee you Ann Taylor wasn't telling you stuff. I guarantee you guys weren't talking to her.
Might not believe it, really doesn't matter to us, but we never intentionally lied. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So to think that at times that we didn't have misinformation would be, why are we held at this, different standard? We were all under this gag order and fighting, and people were reaching out to us on different levels, and we were vetting that stuff. Like, is this true? Is this true? That, this person is this person, this person sounds really credible. Like, I think this might really be true. Oh, that is absolutely not true. And we weren't just running with everything,
And just for the record, I do have this I have this speed up to 1.25, like versus normal. So me and Christy are both fast talkers. So Christy, I got you at 1.25.
Saying that we were getting. So,
people are very simple-minded in the true crime community. Two things can be right. So Abbott could have been told, tell them that their daughters were asleep and they were attacked. That can be true, but her not going into the details of saying that they fought back and there was all these details, that could be true as well. But she told us.
Okay. This is where it cannot be true. is that then you guys have to label Dylan Mortensen a liar. Okay? Because Dylan Mortensen heard there's somebody here. I don't give a shit if it was Kaylee or Maddie or Xana or Ethan. She came out and she said she heard the phrase, there's somebody here, that it was at 4:00 and Kaylee's dancing with the dog in the living room. Okay. 4:00. Nobody is sleeping if you're walking up the stairs and then you hear there's somebody here. Okay. Somebody's lying. Right? Because either Dylan heard what she heard, but maybe she got the person wrong. But the timeline of it, right? Which matters. And it's like, well, we can't have Dylan saying that she heard that at 3, you know, when she walked up and was texting Jack D and finished texting him at 2:53, you know, and then gets in bed and is laying there with Maddie. I mean, what? Hanging out, like, you know, Maddie's not feeling well or they're just bullshitting or whatever. Maddie's phone gets used too at that time, you know, calling Jack D. And then Jack D even says, like, I've known Maddie for a long time. She's never, for her to call me, that's out of the norm. But nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that Jack D says, listen, for Maddie to call me, not normal.
Us, they were asleep and they were attacked and they'd been drinking. So that's what we went with. So it wasn't that we were lying. It was just, that's the truth as we knew it at the moment.
At that time. And things changed, you know, like things evolved.
Here, let me ask you guys this, though. My butt went into that crime scene. Okay. She was just not relayed, hey, this is what you're going to say. She had to go in there. She went in there. Okay. My butt chose to do an interview. I think it was on the 17th, 18th, something like that. My butt, remember crossing, really stand. I mean,
things changed. So
and that's why I was mad when I found out there was more to it. But I wasn't lying when I said that. That's exactly what it was told to me as.
For years, we had what Kathy Mabbitt told us, the coroner, on the phone, and Kaylee's death certificate.
And you guys had the fact that you were pissed that somebody told your 16-year-old daughter. Remember that? And I was like, then what the hell? Like,
for years, that's what we had. And we never.
I was outraged for them for that because that's insane, you know? Which I believe that happened. I don't think that they're lying about that. But it's like, I would be brushing that to the side now. Like, that happened, and
added to that. We never said that more happened to Kaylee.
And then when we got the autopsy report, we're like, we just learned all these new facts, and they're like, you guys said you already knew. So things can get confusing, and that's what happens when you lose the leadership of a courtroom with professional.
Losing the leadership of the courtroom. There was no leadership to begin with, because this was never about the victims. This was never about justice. This was about keeping pensions and jobs in place. Because if the truth was to come out in this case, there would be no one to prosecute, because it's not prosecutable. Because law enforcement, chose to violate our rights and did it ridiculously. Like, not just like, no, all up and down. 19 pages worth of probable cause, spread it far and wide. None of that shit was true. You obtained an arrest warrant. You obtained DNA that you then matched. You wouldn't have had any of that shit.
Professionals that dedicate 6-7 years to be educated into these matters,
like,
and explain it.
Like a real journalist, not somebody that's sitting in their basement,
Or a team of seasoned lawyers. These people are there for a reason, because
I will say I do not sit in my basement. I know that they're talking about Turtle Boy.
Because they're experts. And you can't reproduce that with just some random Joe Blow that's making. A good example of how ridiculous this is and what we've been fighting is people are getting records with our children's dead bodies in there, and the actual room, blood, guts, and all. And then they put, but then they put their little watermark on it, and we're not even allowed to use it. And we don't have the original doc, so we don't know if it's even true. And we're sitting here trying to figure out, is this AI? Is this real? What's going on? Is this?
Well, that's the whole AI thing right now. It's, hey, people want AI. This is what AI is capable of. But it's just in anything, though. I mean, I have no idea how people are even. They say that they have softwares to be able to test if this was AI generated, like reports for college kids going to school. I'm like, how are any of these kids getting degrees? Freaking AI is just gonna, write my paper. But you know what? The one thing that they can't do is, how do they take the test for you? I'm like, well, you have all these online classes. Well, then you have to show up to actually take the test, in person, and then you can go AI it all day, right? And then when you go take that test, you're gonna fail, type of thing. Yeah, sure, right?
Even a true thing, because we haven't been even given a copy yet, and they're not going to give us a copy. And if we go and share theirs, we're actually violating the law, even though it's our kids' freaking case. It's
Well, we can get them, but a lot of these documents, we don't even know where they're coming from. We're going to the entities that we know have been putting them out, and they're not there. We're like, where did this person that has this watermark even get this document? Like, is it from ISP? Is it from Moscow? Is it from Ada County? Like, where's it coming from? And
it's called a leak. It's called, if whatever they're talking about, if they can't find it, it's very simple. It's no different than what happened with Dateline. How did Dateline get any of their shit? I promise you, Ann Taylor was not handing Dateline anything. Okay. Why do you think that Bill Thompson told Olivia Goncalves to come on down and you can see whatever you want? Because I can't promise you that you won't see it on the internet. She's like, trying to insinuate, though, that if it was just my team that had this shit, I would say I could guarantee you're never going to see this stuff. But it's just not my team that has it. Insinuating that the defense is putting out the shit. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I agree, though. Two things can be true. That's the whole purpose of this expert shit. Two things can be true. Meaning one of those two things can't be true. Nobody's a conspiracy theorist here. Things need to be answered. Things need to be explained. This crime did not happen in the amount of time that they're saying. One person, Bryan Kohberger, absolutely could have done this. He needs to be in that house by himself without those two other girls. Okay? Come out and tell the world that those two other girls were not there. Let's talk about that. Because then, now let's talk. Then it could be Bryan Kohberger, right? Because the one thing I'm not going to get over on any humps here is the time. This did not happen in 1 minute and 30 seconds to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. It did not happen in 1 minute and 30 seconds to 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But they needed to happen in that capacity, in that time frame, in order for Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk to be able to contemporaneously testify that they are in the, like, we're texting as this shit's happening. The fuck you are. No, you're not. Take that as a quote. The fuck you are. No, you are not. Quote me.
We're not even able to see that. And we were always held under the impression that autopsy results were not going to be released, that those were protected by HIPAA. Mm-hmm. And this is something Bill Thompson told us. Why we believe Bill Thompson, who knows? It was one thing that I guess we held on to that maybe he was telling the truth about.
$20,000.
But we
see, I feel they're paying with that. You think do you think that they don't like Bill Thompson? They think Bill Thompson is a fucking joke. He is. He's a liar. You know that for you to lie to people that just had their kids murdered, like, I don't think there's anything that's lower than that. I'm going to lie to the families that just like heard that their kids were murdered, and then I'm going to try to work with them and separate them. I mean, that is insanity to me.
Listen to him. And so when those came out last Friday,
it was news to us.
It was news to us. And
did you know everything in
the autopsies? Like, they didn't really come out the way that they're saying. It was the way that it was documented in that report. So that's not the autopsies, guys. The autopsies are going to talk about stuff like this. Okay. Here, the Franklin County Forensic Science Center right here. This is an autopsy. And guess what? Spencer and Monique Teppe's autopsies. Okay. You'd be hearing stuff like the wound consists of a 3/8 inch round defect with eccentric pink brown marginal abrasion, widest at the 12 to 6 o'clock aspect, in line and in proximity of the wound. Like, did you guys hear anything like that or read anything like that? No. Okay. Things like Spencer Tepe was shot 7 times, and Monique Tepe was 9 times. And one of those times was in the face.
Those, I mean,
No,
all
those details are completely different than the coroner's report.
Well, the coroner, but we do have autopsy report. I don't think any of us that we got the day of sentencing on a thumb drive. We got
did that,
AK.
yeah. It was only one page.
And I don't think that any of us, I know I haven't have actually like combed through it.
I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't like come. If you're a child, man, I wouldn't be able to. Like, I'd be puking.
And just been like, it's not easy to do. That's not something that we've done, and it's a little different when you're like seeing this stuff on on the internet, and now it's being talked about.
Just be honest. Even if we did get that, which we did get a 21-page thing.
I'm just saying we didn't go through it.
It didn't have the other victims, and the whole totality of what this individual did when they're asking us to make a plea deal. We didn't get that.
You guys
that's what I was wondering. I mean,
24 pages just of Kaylee. Exactly like Monique Tepe here and Spencer. So here, Spencer Tepe's, his is 6 of 6 pages. Okay. Then Monique's, okay. Hers is 7 pages. Okay. Kaylee's was 24 pages. 24 pages. And these have, one of them's 9 gunshot wounds that they have to explain. And 7. And then also if there was any type of other damage, like, wounds, abrasions, things like that you have to, note. You're talking about the external examination. Then you're talking about an internal examination. Then you're talking about like legit, since you have 9 penetrating wounds, that's gunshots, right? They're talking about the path, the exit wound, the bullet recovery, the course and direction. So this one right here, left to right and without up or down, front or back, deviation. So these are very thorough, right? And so for just Kaylee, it was 24 pages. Okay. That breaks my heart. Xana, I mean, come on. This is just awful.
You think that you and the other families should have, because when I was just reading, I was on vacation, so I just now read through the new documents. And you guys know I've covered this story and the case and everything inside and out. But like seeing...
Have you inside and out? Because if you were covering this stuff inside and out, there's a lot of questions then that you have not posed. But I get it. I know what it's like to... Listen, when you have a mutual respect for somebody and then you also are so compassionate, okay? If you don't think that I'm conflicted on times when I'm like, okay, I want to do this live and I want to be able to talk about this, okay? But I don't want the families to think that I'm coming at this talk in a type of way that's disrespectful to them, to their children. There was supposed to be a trial. So of course everybody's trying to understand how there wasn't, and at the 12th, 24th hour. But there's questions. There's a shit ton of questions. And anybody that's just going to sit here and say that the Idaho 4 case has no questions, and like, God damn, who's ever out there saying anything else other than what Bill Thompson basically isn't saying and just wants you to accept the 4 interviews that him and a couple other people did. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
The number of wounds on all of the kids
was enraging.
Takes on another, and I mean, and it's not pictures, it's just the words of it. And when you see in parentheses like 24, the different, the number of wounds, like it takes on a different feeling, the whole thing.
It's a different reality.
Yeah.
It's a new reality because now you're becoming aware. And to hide those things from the parents is disgusting. They hid that from us. And that was just our own child, let alone all the children together, and say, we're gonna ask you to make a plea deal right now. And here's 21 pages of a PDF. How much time do you need to read this to make this decision? It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous.
I don't think we were privy to the other kids' information.
We were not.
We were not.
That's the whole point.
I didn't.
And so like they weren't. So then think about this. If it's absolutely ridiculous, you guys, they were trying to give you such a tight window so that you couldn't get through everything, right? For what purpose? Like, how are you backing them? And they're going to come out and say, like, we're not backing them. But I think you're not understanding my terminology about backing. If you think that the defense can go out there and get someone to just say it our way, see it our way, write up a report. The prosecution was and Taylor hired Matt before the prosecution hired Paulette. Paulette basically was hired because of Matt. So now who's being hired to say what? The Celebrate experts. They were hired after what? They weren't hired to solve the case. And you have to think to yourself that how come they weren't? If they're these experts, right? That's who you should be relying on. That's what I don't get. No, let's just let people that don't know what they're doing fuck shit up. AKA the Maoris of the world, the Paynes of the world, the Nick Balances of the worlds. And that, hey, we cannot go to trial because otherwise these people's careers will be over.
Need to know what happened to the other kids to make our decision on how we felt, wanting the death penalty in the trial. So, but learning about that stuff was very hard. And there were things that, having it, like, boom, here it is on the internet, and, social media outlets are talking about it and going over each and every little one that catch your attention. I learned things that I was not aware. So I just learned some new things that happened to Kaylee last week.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, if my daughter would have been killed while she was sleeping, it would have been described the way it was first described, and I would have learned what happened to Xana, I wouldn't have given him the deal. Just off of what he did to that girl alone, let alone all. I
agree. So we're all in agreement here. So we wouldn't have given him that deal, right? But the question should be like, why? Because of how heinous it was? So it never came into anybody's mindset, never once, like, so I just have a question. I want the Goncalveses to explain to me privately, hey, how do you think that this happened with just one person, Bryan Kohberger? How did he do this in this short amount of time? Because you know what I could see them saying? If they were to come out and say, like, listen, we don't believe that the girls were there. Okay? We don't believe that the girls were there. We had issues with that in the beginning, and I don't know if they came home and then they saw stuff and then whatever, but I don't know if they went off running, but we believe it's him and him alone. We believe that he had way more time to do everything. If they were saying that there was something that was cleaned up, yeah, him, and how that to me, I'd be like, okay, now I can fuck with that. Because that to me is logic. Okay. Like there was time in this. How did all of this transpire in that short amount of time? And that everything else just is a coincidence, like the mollies and the undercovers, and it's just a coincidence that night. It would make more sense to say, yeah, I don't believe that anything that Dylan and Bethany were saying.
Them together, the totality of everything. It was outrageous to hide what happened to these victims. Like that girl.
You mean the fact that she was like standing up in the room and everything?
She went through everything that she went through. That should have been.
Well, ask yourself, how was she standing up in the middle of the room? If she's standing up in the middle of the room, so let's get this straight then. She walks in and sees Bryan going at it with Ethan on the bed, and then it's like, oh my God, stop. Like, and goes and tries to pull him off, right? And then he starts attacking then Xana. And then, I mean, that's the only way that I can envision that this was one person in that room. It would be that Xana wasn't in the room and she came into that room, and the person is on that bed attacking Ethan, and then she comes in and she's like, she doesn't go, oh my God, what's going on? And runs. She goes and tries to freaking help her boyfriend. And then after he's already taken Ethan down a little bit, right? Then they're having right there when she goes to pull this guy, he then gets off of the bed, and right there, they're in the middle of the room, and it's, it is what it is. That is the only way, in my opinion, that happens. So let's think about that for a minute. That would mean, in my opinion, if Xana you only have some options here. Xana either had to be the one to go downstairs to get this food, but hey, the food was 8. Okay. Xana had to leave to go to the bathroom. Xana had to leave that room to go to the kitchen. Okay. And that the person ran down instead of like running out down and around to like leave out the back slider. Oh, Xana's there. So, okay, no, then I'm going to run and make a left and go towards Xana's room versus not going down all the way down the stairs to like leave out the front door. Then I'm going to run out and I'm going to go into Xana's room though. And then Xana's going to follow me in there. But I'm attacking. Oh, and then when she comes in, then it's the only thing. I can't see that both of them are laying in bed. And if he goes to attack in the bedroom and in the bed that they're both laying in, and Xana's able to like squiggle and get away, then she's fine to get away, but then decides, again, I'm not going to leave because I'm trying to help him. And then what the hell is Dylan doing?
Honored with not a deal. You don't deal with the worst people in your society unless you're just a weak prosecutor who's looking to run out the exit. I mean, you have DNA in the crime scene.
He thinks he just wants to, he's I don't know why he's giving this to Bill Thompson. Stop giving him that he just wants to run out the exit because he wants to retire or some shit, or he did a plea deal to save his job, Ashley Jennings' job, and these other people's jobs. They were going to get popped during that trial. All of it. They've been lying. It was coming out. The only way that it doesn't come out is if there isn't a trial. I don't care if the guy is found guilty. Once that shit would have come out and Ann Taylor's making a record of all of this stuff and she's presenting this or getting cock-blocked when she tries to present this shit, the entire world was going to watch that trial. The entire world was going to watch that trial. You had people getting just into the case to cover it as their first time as like a mainstream media network is going to, okay, we're actually going to be gavel to gavel. We're going to do it for that case.
I mean, the FBI gave it to you like a gift and you want to refuse to use it? I can't.
That's the thing though. What do you mean the FBI gave it to them as a gift? That's what I'm trying to help understand here that I think the best word you just said there was gift, an illegal gift. And Bill Thompson did, he used it. But now it's going to come out, you got to show it and present it in front of the whole world, your illegal gift. That somebody had this trump card too. They don't want no part of that.
Accept that. And I told him this. I told him this before he made his deal. I will not back you. And if you want to go there, go there. But you will not have our support.
Yeah. Did you get any warning?
How about this? You want to know what I would have said? Hey, we want a trial. Take the death penalty off the table. We don't want to deal with the down the road, all these, appeals that you get, right? So go ahead. Take the death penalty off the table. There is still no deal, though. We're going to trial and just take the death penalty off the table. Meaning he's not going, because what they were trying to sell them on is, you guys, this is how the death penalty works, is that he's going to get all these extra appeals and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Nope. Bye-bye, death penalty. Whatever is happening here, we're not having a trial. So take the death penalty and go away. Go ahead, go to trial. What's stopping you? Think about that for a minute. Now, do you think that Bryan Kohberger takes a plea deal if the death penalty is off the table? You think he's just like, I don't want my trial now. I'll just sign the dotted line. Think about it. They don't really know why somebody said they did it or not. If the death penalty wasn't there, does this go to trial?
I read a few different things. Like when those photos came out from ISP, like did they call you guys first?
Yes. Olivia got a call for whatever reason. They called Olivia and they said, we just want to give you a heads up. These are going to be dropping within the next couple hours on the ISP page. Okay. So by the time she got off the phone, there was a 12-minute phone call. By the time she got off the phone and went to ISP, they were already there. So she saw, she got a hold of me. She saw very quickly there were some, very
Questionable.
not questionable, just there were victims in the
They
pictures.
were very intense. It was crime scene photos. Okay. But the reason that they were intense is because they lied. They lied and said that it wasn't that people were sleeping and just died in their beds. In and out in a minute and 30 to 3 minutes. The only people that were saying that it wasn't that was the defense. The defense was saying that I cannot believe that you guys submitted a report on November 21st, trying to make this fit into a minute and 30 to 3 minute window. And that's when you knew. At first, I thought that they were doing it for the purpose of, hey, we really need to sit down these girls. Like, we see the crime scene. We've done this how many times, guys? Here's the girl statements. Yes, here are their text messages. But let's take a look at, here's also the digital footprints of these girls, meaning like their health data. Here's the victim's health data. Those are the type of conversations that would have been had. And if those aren't being had, it's because there's a bigger, larger issue. Period.
And she got a hold of them in there. She was like, there are victims in the pictures here. And they took it down. But in the meantime, whoever got those pictures. You know what I'm saying?
And now they're making money off of them. It's disgusting.
But the autopsy results that came out on Friday, we still don't even.
The autopsy results that came out on Friday. What autopsy results came out on Friday? I have no idea what they're talking about.
know where those
I have no idea what they're talking
actually
about.
came from. I don't know if we figured it out. I
Like
don't
a
know.
watermark, so be
Last
careful
week-
if you share.
You
it.
mean the only autopsy results I saw were in those 155 pages
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I only saw, and they weren't autopsy results. Okay, this was what Paulette Sutton put into her report.
released by the court? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Where
yes.
it just kind of details the different wounds.
Okay, so it's 155 pages. That didn't come out on Friday.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
And they cite their official autopsy
Yeah.
results and whatnot, and there's some very detailed
It's personal.
descriptions in there.
Anybody put yourself in our shoes. If you went and did like an application and you did like a drug test or you did some kind of background check, that shouldn't be public information.
Yeah.
And a killer shouldn't say, because we've asked for his records and they tell us for HIPAA, we can't share his mental evaluation. So he can kill my daughter, steal her rights to her protection because now she's dead. So she gets no protection. So you guys can all share my daughter's records because this guy killed her. But
Think about this though. If there was a trial, that would have all come out. They would have all come out. And that's the argument. That's the argument to make right there. That's your golden goose. That's the argument that needs to be made, is that, oh my God, how are you even arguing that this person's everything to do with their past that would have come out in a trial. Like, you guys do understand that this would have been redacted. It's everything would have come out in a trial about Bryan Kohberger. How is it being protected right now? That needs to change. That's fucking crazy. Steve, that's your golden goose right there. That's what you need to argue, because that is some serious bullshit. Okay? You get to kill my kid. All this shit gets to come out because you took away her privacy rights, right? Can't claim privacy rights when you're dead, right? So you got to steal her privacy rights, right? By killing her. And then the prosecutor says, oh, I'm going to do a plea deal. And so then guess what happens? None of his stuff gets to be public. He's not confused with that. He's not confused about that. If there would have been a trial, though, all of that shit is public. There's a public trial. It all would have come out. It's not crazy. Well, we can agree to disagree. We can agree to disagree. Because in a trial, you guys, it would have come out. If Ann Taylor is going to argue certain things and put people on the stand, that is now public. What do you think in a trial? They're just like, hey, everyone leaves the courtroom. We have this witness coming up here going to talk about Bryan Kohberger and his everything that he has going on in his world. Remember, that was one of the big arguments. One of the big arguments was Ann Taylor's like, you can't use this shit against my client. And she's like, and then Hippler's over here saying, well, the state's saying that if you're going to try to use this stuff, then yes, they can. Like, what do you mean? You want the jury to know that he's autistic. Okay. How do you think that's going to come out? When was he diagnosed being autistic? When was he diagnosed being OCD? When was he diagnosed being ADHD? When was all of that happening? Okay. Well, that didn't happen until after he was arrested, right? That was going to be mitigating circumstances also with the sentencing. That was going to try to save his life. And that's what I think needs to change as well. Do you know how difficult it would be that you want me to sit here with my client and we're working on trial strategy for an innocent person, but we're also supposed to say, hey, guess what though? We got to be prepared that in case the jury finds you guilty, right after that, there's a sentencing phase. And so right now though, we have to prepare for it. So what can we dig up that can actually aid in the prosecution of you, because we have to give it to the state. This is how we're going to have, these are our mitigating circumstances in our witnesses. I think that that's fucking crazy. Like, I don't want to participate in mitigating shit. So don't provide them with any mitigating things. If they find me guilty, then it looks like we're rushing around. Well, no, we have these deadlines. Well, then that needs to change. But I think that's absolutely crazy. I think that you should have a completely different attorney for the sentencing phase of a death penalty case. Again, I can go on and on about what I think about that. It should never be on a lawyer to have to tell their client what they should and shouldn't do about a plea deal that's going to save their life. Because that's a conflict of interest right there. Right when you ask me, well, what do you think I should do? Right there, I'm conflicted. Right there, I'm conflicted. As soon as I feel like that question would be asked upon me, if I was a defense attorney and I got a guy and I believe that he's innocent, but his life is literally in my hands. If I don't win this case, he's going to die. Hey, they're offering me a plea deal. What do I do? Fuck. Well, I know that we can win. Pretend. Fuck. You know how many lawyers I will oral argue the fuck out of? You don't need to be a lawyer to have brains and know how to argue. Didn't you argue with your parents when you were younger? Didn't you argue with your siblings when you were younger? Didn't you argue with teachers? Do you know what arguments really mean in life? How persuasive can you be? How much sense can you make to a jury? How can you articulate things to a jury? But I just think that the death penalty should not exist because we should never be putting lawyers, our citizens, in positions because that's a conflict in and of itself.
We can't see his records. That's against the rules.
And the photos, I don't understand why people would want to publish the photos. The wounds, I felt like it was important for people to know. Like you said, I mean, no one really, it hits you in a different way when you read that, what happened to all of them, you know, like just what, I don't know. It felt, that to me felt important. I don't think anybody knew.
And that's why I always felt like as a family, we were transparent about things that happened to Kaylee. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we didn't go through as like a medical examiner and go down the line of what had happened, but you know, we felt that we told the world what happened to Kaylee, like in its totality. We can't speak on the other victims. We didn't know about the other victims, that's not our place to speak. But right away, when we found out that, you know, Kaylee had bad face damage and missing teeth and a broken nose and brain bleeds, stabbed in the face.
That's insane that they were told that their daughter was sleeping. Steve, take them down. You know how you can include Bill Thompson and Ashley Jennings in all of this. I know that you know how. Take them down. They should not be representing anybody's rights as a victim. They should not be representing the community at large. They only cared about themselves in this whole thing.
All those times we spoke on that, you know, we spoke out about it because we felt it was important too, that people know that she wasn't just stabbed, you know, a couple times in her sleep, which is equally as bad. I mean, I don't know if it's equally as bad, but it's bad. It's bad, you know? So
what it would seem like is that somebody was, you know, I'm not even going to say it. It doesn't need to be said. It's fucking wrong.
I want people to understand when we say that these victims fought harder than Thompson defended them, I want them to read those docs, read all of them and say, did these victims fight harder than this prosecutor?
Yeah. And exactly, Steve. And they did. But what the documents are also saying is that it almost sounds like they didn't stand a chance because they were up against something that would be like, you're not getting out of this. There was intel, there was knowledge, okay? There was a cleanup. Was there multiple people? What's going on outside the house literally at the same time that this is going on? Where people are lying. Everybody's lying. Everybody's lying. How does everybody know what time the crime happened and yet the cops didn't know?
To defend them. And I think it's pretty clear. I think even with what happened to Xana and our daughter, it was clear these guys fought. And Thompson was a weak, pathetic man. And
yes, Steve. But you can ruin his legacy. Every single case that he's ever had, you think that this is the first time he did this? Fuck no. Fuck no. They've been running amok over there for just as many years as he's been doing. 33? Yeah. Let's go back and look at all the cases that he's done.
And he ran. So he has to own it. He
ran because
the other thing I was thinking about when I was reading it was like
he ran to save his career, his pension, his name. You think he's ever going to pick your kid's name over his name? No. And guess what? Then you're grooming Ashley Jennings to just pop right into that spot. Get the fuck out of here. No way.
Just the rage that Kohberger had.
No business running anything.
There's never been any evidence, I guess, that he had it out for any of the victims, but it's hard to imagine this was just totally random. Like
it wasn't random.
It wasn't random. It was just a pathetic possibility. So we're learning things through other there's other laws that have to come into effect. And we've learned that he defined these things. He purposely, it was a strategy not to say that was sexually motivated, even though he was doing murder porn on his phone and they found that. And it was also purposely that he said it wasn't stalking because that would have tied their hands. That would have tied the community's hands where they would have had to publish that every 23 times he was out there and about, he was stalking. They would have had to put that on a webpage. They would have been obligated. That community, the universities, every stalking event that would have happened in Moscow would have been recorded. So he purposely decided, I'm not even going to pursue stalking because that is going to hurt the university more than if I just say, we're not even going to try to, we're not.
What did I tell you guys? What did I tell you guys was going to come? I didn't hear it. I did not listen to this prior to this moment. Exactly. I told you that this is what the angle that Steve was going, and it's true. Told you. The protection of the universities. The stalking protects who? We cannot pursue that. But you have to include the timing advance records. Because you're allowed to be in the area to shop or do whatever. Or like I said, he takes these drives. You know what I mean? Like, I did that shit all the time. I love to listen to my music and drive. I had a Jeep, all the doors off, top down. That's fun as fuck.
Going to go down that road. We don't need to, because I got the DNA in the crime scene. He didn't need to. So he backed off of that stuff. But that doesn't mean he's not guilty of doing it.
So you think he saw Kaylee around, followed her around, something like that?
They're going to show overlapping between their timing records, some of the victims' timing records, which they had. Now, they didn't have Bryan's timing records.
I disagree.
Because it went past 7 days. But they're going to overlap.
Tisk.
His pings in Idaho and their timing advance records and where they were at the same places at the same time, because there's other records like receipts and surveillance. There were ATMs. There was all these different things they're going to say. These victims and this perpetrator were here at the exact same time, multiple.
They couldn't do that, though. That's my argument, is that there is no overlapping. Okay, there is no overlapping. Why I'm confident in saying that is Cyre. There's also data that does not exist. And when you don't have the entire data sets, like, that's where I don't even think it was going to come into play in the trial. I think that was going to be objected to, because you can't have it both ways. You can't say that his phone there's all this stuff missing, and yet so all we could do is plot this. What? Like, huh? Remember that whole talk about that his phone pinged on a Monday after the crime, that Monday, and he was on the cell towers of Moscow, but then they wrote in the probable cause, but we don't believe that that's where he was. Explain that to me. Does that mean that it's inaccurate? Or do you believe that he gave his phone to somebody and was like, here, go drive to Moscow while they know that I'm in school at I'm TAing and I'm being seen here?
Times over and over and over again. That's what I believe personally, is my opinion. They were going to establish in the case that they ran away from.
Have they warned you guys if there's more to come in terms of releases? Or
we know there is, just because we haven't even got to the original county yet. We're still on Ada County. All these releases are on Ada, so we haven't even got to the real meat of.
There you go. Did you just hear that? That's what exactly. We've not gotten to the meat and potatoes of what.
The releases. So yeah.
We know more's coming. We don't know what's in it.
We've been trying to find out about the leak investigation that we don't feel like it's even happening. We think it's fake, because we were the first, my lawyer was the first one to point out that there was a leak in this investigation before it ever even got to Dateline.
Yep.
And we've never even been contacted. He's never been contacted. So to us, there is no investigation going on whatsoever. So we emailed them directly, and they basically just told us, leave, get out of here. We're not going to tell you anything. We're not going to tell you the truth. You don't need to know the truth. We are going to do our investigation, and maybe you'll know what happened.
Well, who's the name of the special prosecutor? Who was assigned to be the special prosecutor of this leak? Think about it. Remember Hitler? Like, that's why some of this stuff has been continued to be sealed, is because there's this ongoing investigation into this leak. How do you investigate the FBI? Just curious. How do you investigate Bill Thompson? You subpoena his office? I want to see all your emails. Don't you think Ann Taylor already did all that?
And I said, you know what? You can say that, but I'll go to the media and I'll let people understand that that's the kind of leadership that we have in this case right now. We have very questionable leadership who's literally sitting here telling us that we don't have the right to know about the investigation that cost us the trial.
I mean, yeah, in hindsight, we think
There it is.
did the
The
leak
investigation that cost us the trial. There it is, cowbells for all. Boom, bitch. Get out the way. Get out the way, ho. There you go. That's exactly what that is. You guys know what that means? That means time to play some Little John East Side Boys. Some Ludacris, that's it right there. The investigation that cost us a trial was y'all motherfucking leaking shit to Dateline and people before that, before even Dateline came into the picture. And he said, did he say the word defense anywhere there? Nope. We know who was doing it. No one's come and asked us a damn thing.
sabotage our case because, weeks later we had a plea deal like thrown in our lap, and 3 days later we were sitting down in Boise, giving this guy a plea deal. So we're like, did this
right to know about
Here you go.
questionable leadership who's literally sitting here telling us that we don't have the right to know about the investigation that cost us the trial.
I mean, yeah, in hindsight, we think did the leak sabotage our case because, weeks later we had a plea deal like thrown in our lap, and
Yes, the leak sabotaged the case. That was the whole purpose of the leak. That is why it came from the prosecution. Okay? They were trying for so long to get this case. Woo! And then that makes you wonder, was Bill Thompson and Ann Taylor talking like, hey, you're going to have to give. And I say, no, I don't think so. I don't think it was Ann and Bill Thompson cahoots. I don't.
3 days later we were sitting down in Boise, giving this guy a plea deal. So we're like, did this leak, was it really detrimental to the case so bad that, from what we were told was the defense came to prosecution and asked for the plea. But
See how they're saying it like that? This is what we were told. And she's saying it so well there because we don't believe it or we don't know. She's saying, this is what we were told, that the defense came and asked for it. And I think that they know that, yeah, that might not be true, huh?
Well, the leak, how much of the leak was false and how much of the leak was true? And the leak literally talked about having his murder porn on his phone, all these pictures of other victims or
passed out
drunk girls.
Yeah.
So you can look that up. All that stuff has been unsealed and been verified. So
weren't they going to have a special
Passed out drunk girls? Like, are we talking like porn or are we talking like pictures of people at parties?
prosecutor? Isn't that what
Yes.
the judge said?
Yes, he said they were going to assign us, and he was going to come after that person, whoever did it with vigor.
Yeah, Hitler has been a huge disappointment. I mean,
Yeah, baby. Hitler's been a huge disappointment. Hell yeah, Steve, hasn't he? Okay. Don't care what side you're on. Don't care. You should just be about the side of just like, boom, we have this referee here. It was like you're at a home game, okay, in Green Bay, in New England, Tom Brady and Deflategate, Peyton Manning can't get a goddamn call. It was this, here's your referee, and he's from the SEC. We always say that the SEC has the worst refs because they do. Bod paid for, baby, Florida.
he has been a massive disappointment. And we've been saying all we
Massive
Yeah.
disappointment. God, you know what, Steve? Get another fucking cowbell for that. I love it. He's been a massive disappointment. Hell yeah, Steve. That piece of shit. He had the nerve to tell Steve, who do you think you are? Your daughter is murdered, but who do you think you are? Excuse me? Yeah. You better shut up if you want to have a trial. That's what he told Steve.
Hitler has been a huge disappointment. I mean, he has been a massive disappointment. And we've been saying all we want to know is where it's at because we're not being contacted and we know who your leaks are. We've heard some of them. We were aware of some of these facts before they became public. So
we know who your leaks are. Dude, this guy is begging for them to come and talk to them. Like, hey, we know who your leaks are. He is taunting. I love it. You guys, I told you the other day, he was taunting Bill Thompson when he said timing advance records. Hell yeah, Steve. Taunt these titties. Make a t-shirt. Love it. If Christy wears a shirt that says "Taunt these titties, Thompson," I will fall over. In fact, I think we're gonna just send her the shirt. Christy, if you wear this shirt, God, I mean, we already love you, but if you wear the shirt that says "Taunt these titties, Thompson,"
We could probably clear some of the stuff up, and they don't even want to talk to us because they're scared of
Yes.
what we've discovered and who would get fired if we actually put that on record. And they tell us, stop emailing us because you're making records.
Do they
That's
just
how you
want
know.
this all to end?
yeah,
Is
because
that
it's
the- they
public,
just want to have
because if we go in FOIA and it's all record, and I'm waiting for the right time to do mine, but they know that all those emails are public records. Okay, do you know that they were trying to prevent They're sick puppies? Listen to that, what he just said right there. We know that it would get people fired. That's what I've been screaming.
So we could probably clear some of the stuff up, and they don't even want to talk to us because they're scared of what we've discovered and who would get fired if we actually put that on record. And they tell us, stop emailing us because you're making records.
Dude, you're just FOIA. Yeah, guess who? But guess who's gonna? We're not getting in trouble for what the fuck you've done. You guys did this shit. Go get those FOIAs. Steve is straight gangster throwing it down today. I love it. Dude, Steve. Hell yeah. Yep. And guess what? If they try to prevent those FOIAs going out, Steve has the receipts. Steve knows what he sent email-wise. I bet you if I got a FOIA and I sent it to Steve and I was like, hey, look at this. What do you think about this? This is all they gave me. Oh, is that a fact? Right here, Thompson. Sit and spin.
Do they
That's
just
how you
want
know.
this all to end? Is that they just want to have this in the rearview mirror? I mean, what,
I don't know.
Yeah, they keep telling us, stop emailing us. You're making records. They literally told our lawyer.
what do they mean by that? Why can't there be records?
I don't know.
Well, if you raise these things up in court like we did,
Seriously, Bryan Enton, you don't know what he's talking about? Maybe I do. Like, people will say to me, Lana, you need to stop and press pause and then explain some things because you get it, but we don't get it all the time. And I'm like, what do you mean? But I get it now. Look at this. He's like, okay, Bryan, I realize that you don't do the FOIA requests and someone does them for you then, or how are you getting this material? But the prosecutors in every area, they work for the people. We get to know what you're doing with your professional emails and then emails that you try to, like, I don't know, create burner emails. Go and ask the Karen Reed peeps. This is wild. But he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He is not. What are you talking about? Why? What's wrong?
we raised this up and said, hey, there's a leak from the prosecutor. They're like, you're making records. Stop doing it. And I'm like, listen, you got to understand the people you're dealing with. I'm not going to be okay with these.
Like, if Steve was to share how he knows this is what so-and-so said to me. This is what they provided to me back in the day. I have all this shit on my phone. Okay, this is the stuff that you guys were giving me. Okay, this is why we went out and said that this was going on. Like, and then here we find out XYZ. Remember when Ann Taylor did a discovery request and she said, I want all the emails between Steve and the Thompson about Molly. Molly. Well, because it blew everybody's mind when a body-worn camera surfaces that Molly's over here making up fucking lies.
Side deals that are going on. I don't know what's going on, but all I know is I'm getting to the truth 100%. We're going to get to the truth.
Side
Said, hey,
deals,
there's a leak from the prosecutor.
side deals are going on. Exactly. It's insane what's going on in Pullman in Moscow. Okay, move. Get your kids up out of that state. Move. Because the whole state's like this.
They're like, you're making records. Stop doing it. And I'm like, listen, you got to understand the people you're dealing with. I'm not going to be okay with these side deals that are going on. I don't know what's going on, but all I know is I'm getting to the truth 100%. We're going to get to the truth. I don't care who gets in trouble. And that
Yes. I don't care who gets in trouble. I don't care who goes down. And guess what, Steve? They're going down. And I think he, maybe he's playing a little game, but I don't care who's going down. We're getting to the bottom. We're getting to the truth. You understand that? And I think they are. The Onion has to start somewhere to get to the,
Hasn't made it a very popular narrative. So now they're just like, stop emailing us, stop making records, just leave us alone. This is inappropriate.
They said they can't deny or confirm whether there's an investigation going on or not. We're not privy to that information.
Was that from the prosecution?
No, that was from the judge's clerk, the judge's assistant.
His assistant literally basically said, you guys don't have the right to know. You don't have the right to know. And I'm like, listen, I have the right to know. You, judge, you don't have the right. I have more of a right to this case than you do. We can go get another judge. You can't get another father. You can't get another mother. Judges are a dime a dozen. They've overrated themselves. These parents are critical. You don't have these human beings without.
Yes, Steve. Dude, lighting them up on Enton. And it's just like, here we go. Lighting up Moscow, lighting up Ada County. Steve Goncalves is literally lighting Hitler's ass up. This is amazing. This is absolute gold. Steve, thank you.
Judges, I don't want to be dismissive to them, but sometimes they over-evaluate themselves. And in this case, Hitler's way over-judged himself.
Are you guys like doing okay overall, would you say?
It's
oh my God. Enton's like, are you guys doing okay overall? Oh my God. Yeah, he's like, I don't even know what to say. Like, that was the best. Hold on. Oh my God.
Judges, I don't want to be dismissive to them, but sometimes they over-evaluate themselves. And in this case, Hitler's way over-judged himself.
Are you guys like doing okay overall, would you say?
Wow. That's all you got to say about that? Like, wow, Steve. So you're basically saying that you think people are going to get fired over stuff. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, wow, when you say like fired, like, are we talking like Thompson, Jennings? Are we talking like officers? Are we talking like who? Like, who are we talking about here? How are you guys doing?
It's hard. It's always something. I recently had not gone through any of Kaylee's stuff. So last week I started trying to
that sucks.
go through Kaylee's things. So literally opening boxes that have been packed up since she passed away. So those boxes are coming from Moscow, and those were her room packed up exactly the way she left it. So I'm looking for certain things, and that has been it's been slow. But
Notes she wrote herself.
Little notes that she had on her little sticky pads, and her hairbrush and her retainers, and clothes that you see her wearing a lot of the pictures. And
like I said, Judge, you're not as important as you think you are.
It just is all too much.
We are the victims, and if you're not there for the victims, then get out of the way. Get out of the way, Hitler. If you're not here to do a real investigation, get out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know why,
But we know until we get calls, it ain't real. It ain't real because we were the very first to tell them that this was what was going on. And we were right because we knew about things like the white car, we knew about the sheath. And the thing is, Thompson knows. We asked him about the sheath before it became public, and his eyes just dropped out of his head. And he's like, how did you guys hear about this? And we're like,
Yes! Holy shit. Can I get some shots? This is straight T-ville. Everything we've been saying. Oh my goodness, this is the best live I've ever done in my life. Holy shit, guys, this is amazing. Oh my God. Hey, Thompson's just eyes fell out of his head. Santa was like, it's not Christmas yet. Hold on.
very first to tell them that this was what was going on. And we were right because we knew about things like the white car, we knew about the sheath. And the thing is, Thompson knows. We asked him about the sheath before it became public, and his eyes just dropped out of his head. And he's like, how did you guys hear about this? And we're like, because you guys have people talking to the media. We're not special, but we are very committed to figure this out.
No, but this is what happens. The police have a good relationship with the media, but guess what also they do? Then the media, because they want the interviews like this, then the media takes what they got from the police and they give it to the fam. And they're here. And that's how that's how the cycle happens. Okay. So again, let me repeat this. The police know that they have to have a good relationship with the media. Otherwise, the media will destroy them, right? Hey, well, if you want me to say something else than what I'm going to say, then give me some material. Otherwise, the way I see it is, so this is what happens. Then they get the material and then, hey, I want an interview with this person, and that person. They give them what the police gave them. And then, oh, what just happened there? Now the family is building a trusting relationship with the media person that just gave them the stuff and then is doing interviews. That's how that all plays out. Just so you know.
Yeah, we do know things are being linked. We're trying to help your investigation by saying that this is going on. So reel it in, have a meeting, tell everyone they got to close their lips up, and let's get back on the same ship. But instead of that, they made us look like we were up to something bad.
Yeah, because this is what happens when you do an interview then with mainstream media people that do not have any integrity. When they're live, they ask you questions that you're like, what the fuck, dude? Why would you ask me that? Mm-hmm.
And, they went out, I think 3 days later, they put Shannon under a gag order.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Shannon literally calls them out and their answer is to gag him. And people don't even realize what's going on. It's like, they're literally taking a family lawyer that we're working with and gagging him as if he's part of this investigation. This is the story. This is part of the story right here in front of you. And everyone's like, well, good. I'm glad they gagged their family. I'm glad. Well, guess what? Well, now you got this investigation you're never going to get to the truth of. And the first people who brought it to your attention, you told them to shut up and be quiet.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't us.
You guys know, like 99.99%.
We supported that. We were all about putting out the docs that showed that there was a leak from day one, and Bill Thompson spread it far and wide. It's pretty obvious where it's coming from.
I told you this, Christy, too. People support you guys. I mean, it's always just the vocal, people who are like, oh, he didn't do it. Or, just people who just want like some controversy and like to stir things up on the.
You know what? You can be supported, Bryan Etten. I can support you and still disagree with you. I'm not going to see eye to eye with everybody that I support. Okay. Think about your parents, for heaven's fucking sakes. Okay. Your parents agree with everything that you do? Nope. But by God, do they support you? Do they love you? Come on. To make some blanket statements like this bullshit, this is what bothers me. That type of shit. The always and the nevers, man. Fly a fucking kite. Okay? In the snow while a dog's pissing on your leg. How about that? Because that is horrible to say. I can support people and yet still disagree with them, and they can disagree with me on certain things, but I still support them. And that's called mutual respect. Like this is my opinion about that. Oh my God. Like, crush me. I mean, that's your opinion about it. Like, but if like, it's right in front of our face, 4 + 4 = 8 and you're saying it's 9. And I'm like, are you fucking, do I need to take you to the hospital? Like, what's wrong with you? That's where.
But I hope you guys feel like, almost everybody supports the families and thinks of you guys and just feels terrible.
And I've always been an aggressive Kaylee first type guy and Maddie first. So if I offend you with the way that I approach defending them, I don't care. And I told Hitler, it's not my job to protect the guy who killed my kid. That's your guys' job. And if I make your job difficult, I don't care about it. I don't care. You know how difficult it is to lose your child? Lose your child in the middle of this? And I'm supposed to feel sorry for you?
Yeah.
Get over yourself. Get over yourself, Judge. If I made your job hard, too bad.
Yeah.
Get over.
Yeah, Steve. Give him that daddy dick. Hell yeah. Who the fuck did Hitler think he was to come at? You want to know what everybody should have been saying? That is some serious victim blaming, right? Where's all that shit at? Damn. Hell yeah, Steve. Plant his fucking ass. Love it.
Over it, man. Get over it. Don't tell me how rough it is to go through a murder when your kid's asleep in her bed, getting higher educated, like graduating in days. And you're telling me how hard your job is because I'm talking to the media? Well, maybe you shouldn't be so scared of what I'm saying. Maybe you shouldn't be scared of what we're saying. If it's true, it's true. If it's not, then dismiss it.
This is fucking priceless.
It is what it is. We're trying to get through it every day at a time.
Hell yeah.
It's hard. It's hard, man.
Hell yeah, Steve.
And when you lose leadership completely.
Christy, God love her. She's like, oh my God, here we go. I get her. Like, she's just like, oh God, here we go. But you know what? She's not saying shit. She's just like, fuck, he's right. But like, I love it. Hey, thank you, Bryan Etten, for literally not clipping this. I know I can be critical of you, but thank you so much from the bottom of my heart that you let them have the platform and the reach that you have, and that you allow them to come out here and say everything that they need to say, not some little clip, not changing their words. This, thank you. Thank you, Bryan. And everybody should be thanking Bryan. His reach with his platform is fucking huge. I would make a joke usually right there, but I won't. But yeah, thank you, Bryan.
And that's what happens when you get a plea deal. You've lost all leadership. It's just turned over to the World Wide Web. Everyone's their own media network. Everyone can grab an iPhone and start freaking publishing as if they were like the legit real media, and they all spin it their own way, and there's no leadership to course correct and put things back on the right record. There is no more record. They literally wash their hands and say, it's done, it's over.
You know what my favorite thing is? To see people sit there and they all have their opinions, right? All these people, these are all opinions. And then we'll do a video, say on your show, and people will say in their in your comments, perhaps, or Nancy Grace's comments or something, and say, I'm so sick of these people. I'm so sick of hearing what they have to say. So our opinions don't matter, but everybody else's do. We should sit down and shut up, and we should stop
about
talking.
Our own child.
But everybody else can just keep talking about it. I mean,
no, Christy, you guys can come here whenever you would like. I would probably, though, get you guys too riled up, because I would not be sitting there being like, I'd be like, absolutely, that's what I saw. Do you remember when this happened? And oh my God, I'd be like, I'd be getting rowdy with you guys. Next thing we know, Hippler is calling into the show.
Yeah, if you think we should shut up, get a life. Get a life.
Ben.
Nobody should shut up about their own child.
Amen. 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 That's why whenever Christy and Steve or any of the families speak, I don't care whose channel they go to. I don't care where they're doing it. Okay. I can think somebody's an absolute idiot, and I do. But what Christy and Steve have to say, I don't ever think is idiotic. Listen to their, hey, they have opinions, right? Listen. We just sat here. How many things am I agreeing with? How many things am I disagreeing with? But I'll tell you one thing that nobody will ever be able to say, that I've ever disrespected these two people. Because that's goddamn lie. And they know this.
And you weren't raised in the kind of family we're raised in if you ever stopped professing for your child. I'm going to profess till the day I'm dead. And then I will be quiet. But
I think for some people, it's just like a video game. Like, it's just, they just watch it. Yeah. It's like they haven't been to your house. They haven't met you guys. They haven't met your other family members. They haven't seen they don't see.
It's a video game. I don't, who thinks that this is a video game, Bryan? I guess I wasn't expecting that. What? Like, that these people aren't real? Is that what you mean? Like, it's a video game? Like, that we're all playing, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't play video games. I play, like, What Do You Mean? You guys ever play that game? Oh my God, it's a great game. I play like Yahtzee, Parcheesi. Yeah, I don't know what. Yeah.
That it's that you guys are real people. You're just like these characters on a TV screen, I think. You know what I mean?
Well, I get that. I think that's why I try to be forgiving and try to be like, you know what, don't even go down those paths. But it's hard. It's hard for her because she feels like that matters. And I try to tell her, you know what Kaylee and Maddie would think about how you defended him, that would matter. That would matter a lot more than a couple people's sentences.
I've just never seen a murderer, in such a horrific crime to these 4 kids be defended so at such a high regard.
I think the better way to look at it is that if there's, I don't see so much defending as I see questioning. Okay. Defending. Nobody should be defending that crime scene. If anybody is defending that crime scene, you're in the wrong, in my opinion. But I see questioning the crime scene. I see questioning the choices that were made and how the investigation flowed organically. Okay, these are incompetent, inept people, in my opinion. And I see more questioning. But defending, I mean, no. Defending? I see questioning. I will definitely defend the defense team. Like, do you know how many motions they put in? Do you know how many motions Sheldon Jeter Jr. got? None.
Just
There's a lot of sick people that
just
relate with it.
defending, what he or protecting him. I don't know if it's just, trying just to, oh, he's innocent. He's just, so innocent. And poor Bryan. I mean, it's just because I know 100% without a doubt who killed Kaylee.
Anybody with a brain knows his history since like literally middle school.
I don't think that people do know that, though. I think that that's what needed to come out. I don't think people know anything that you're about to say here, Steve. How would we know that without a trial? How would we know the things that Steve and Christy know? We don't know. We don't know what they know, and it should have come out in a trial. And I think that you guys should just literally take everything that you know and put it out there. I think that if anybody tries to say that you can't, that's absurd. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You have First Amendment right. And if you guys want any help in doing that, I'll help behind the scenes. You can go to Bryan Etten, but I will help you get anything and everything you want out there. And if anybody's telling you differently, fuck them. That's a damn lie.
Has been just problematic.
Yeah.
Girls. And the crazy thing is, a lot of times it's these crazy females that want to defend him. And if anybody was harassed by him and felt that they were threatened by him, it was females. So
he also admitted it. I mean, he could have had a trial. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he admitted it.
literally
I'm
admitted
not
it.
even going to fight it.
Yeah, so I don't know, like,
He
what
pled. But he pled. The terminology is he pled by saying, yep, I'm pleading this. So, yep, I have to stand up and say I'm guilty. That's what was entitled. That's what was entailed in that. But that's part of the plea deal that you have to do that in order to get this. Okay. So, no, there wasn't a confession. You guys know the difference between a confession and a plea deal? There's a big difference. So, terminology-wise, it's just a big difference. What we witnessed was a plea deal. He knew that he had to get up and say certain things. And, and so, yes, he pled guilty to 4 counts of capital murder. But instead of having, he just, hey, you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Yep, I plead guilty. I did it.
They're going to fight it for him.
Yeah, it's such a small percentage. I mean, I know it's easy for me to say, and then you guys see comments, but it's like this many people. I don't know if there's a way to just try to block those people out.
Yeah,
because it's
there's
always going to be crazy people.
There is this trailer park filter that would probably eliminate 90% of them.
Oh my gosh, stop. Stop. I know
what he's talking about. Oh my God. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit, Steve. Oh my God. Bryan Etten got a crack out of that too.
try to
Forget Bryan Etten.
People.
There is this trailer park filter that would probably eliminate 90% of them.
Oh my gosh, stop. Stop. I just try to I just really, try hard, just not to focus on it. I just,
It's hard.
I hate to see him.
Yeah, you don't
Be
want somebody
protected,
defending. Yeah.
and
He's the scum of the earth.
I think that when this, when this stuff starts coming out, and that's why we try to, be vocal about what happened to Kaylee and say, look, she wasn't just sleeping in her bed,
She wasn't.
And to ignore all the evidence and just go with your own theory here. And these two could be seen as can both be true too. Maybe the law enforcement messed up. I don't know. I don't read all the documents. I really try not to dive into it. You know what I'm saying?
You're consumed already.
I'm consumed with enough crap already. So
See, you need to listen to what you just said right there, though. Okay, guys? We consume these documents. We thoroughly go through them, right? And shit, I plot them, put them in timelines. Have, if you want to watch my show and think that you're going to understand my show in 5 minutes, right? Well, good luck. But if you don't read these materials, right, and so like you're not going to know all the little ins and outs. And I just know that Kaylee's ID was taken a picture of just before her murder by the same guy that fucked with the dog that day. He was the undercover that night. He didn't wear a body cam, and he was watching the house then the night after they processed the scene. And I want to know if he watched the house the second night, because there was, I mean, it was just damn free for all in there.
Enforcement made some mistakes. That doesn't mean
Doesn't
that
Law enforcement made some mistakes. Well, law enforcement has not admitted to a single mistake. So where's that? When's that going to come out? What mistakes are we talking about here? Law enforcement made some mistakes. Which mistakes are we talking about here? Can we get let's just get a little diagram out. Because guys, wait for you see what I have here to close out today's live when this is over here. Wait till you see what I have here. I have the investigative case log. It is the Brent Kopaka. Okay. Wait till you see this report. It's case number 22021085 WSP Criminal Investigation Division. And it's every single thing that was located in his room, where it was at, and then everything to do with the crime out, like the scene outside of where any gun was found, any bullet casing was found, all of this shit. I'm going to reveal this log here today, because when we want to talk about crime scenes, you cannot talk about this case without talking about what happened on WSU's campus on the 15th. And so for the first time ever, we're going to reveal this.
him innocent. I'm sorry, I can't even
It's okay.
it doesn't make him innocent. Just because law enforcement made some mistakes, and I'm not denying or confirming that, I don't know.
There's
It
no
doesn't
perfect
say
investigation.
they messed up. And because mistakes were made, it doesn't mean that they could have been honest mistakes. I don't even, like I said, I don't even know what I would be referring to as mistakes, because I don't.
Well, a
But-
mistake would easily be like, you're in front of the murder house doing minor in possession when you should be up there at the King Road house. I mean, that would be an example of what up there. It'd be like, you're in front of the murder house doing minor in possession when you should be up there at the King Road house. I mean, that would be an example of why some people are like,
I'm just saying,
But I mean, at the end of the day, his DNA is on.
Wait, excuse me, Steve? No. Bryan Etten didn't even catch that. Do you guys know what that just means right there? The minor in possession? So wait, this needs to be said though. They weren't on King unless there's two vehicles. You guys, at 2:00 or 3:00, rather, when they go down to get the minors in possession at 2:53, that vehicle that they're in is in the White's parking lot. Okay, we have every single car accounted for in and out of that 1112 cam. Every single one. I put out the whole entire spreadsheet. They do not make any loops in that Ford. Okay. Around Queen, like they say that they do. Like they said, all the loops that we made was like this. None of that happened. So what other vehicle did they use undercover that night? And what the heck is he talking about that it would be a mistake? They were there to get people in minors in possession of drugs or alcohol. That's the whole point of the plainclothes task force. So that's not a mistake. They were supposed to be getting people if they saw them in possession of whatever and they're minors and whatnot. Is he saying that they weren't in possession though of it, so they made a mistake by ever, or citing those people and detaining them and giving them tickets? Think about that. Because if you actually go pull all that stuff up, I think that all those tickets were waived, that they didn't go forward with them. Because we saw they had nothing in possession. They were not in possession of anything. So how are you getting them? Oh, you guys look like you were wobbling. Where are you coming from? But I think it's really important to talk about, because whenever Steve mentions something like this, he has a special way of articulating what he's trying to say, and it comes out a little, It's because it's like me in a way. I know that he's already thinking about something, and so he's saying it where he's picking up in his brain, and he didn't tell us the beginning part of it. Okay, I that's why I don't know. I love Steve because of that. I get it. His brain was, and his mouth was not speaking while his brain's doing this, and it's speaking, and it just missed like the first sentence that goes with the rest of it. So that's the best that I can explain that. So what I believe he means to say here is that, so I'll back it up. He wants to talk about
minor in possession when you should.
And because mistakes were made, it doesn't mean that they could have been honest mistakes. I don't even, like I said, I don't even know what I would be referring to as mistakes because I don't.
Well, a mistake would easily be like you're in front of the murder house doing minor in possession when you should be up there at the King Road house. I mean, that would be an example of why some people are like.
I'm just saying.
But I mean, at the end of the day, his DNA is on the knife sheath.
Mhm.
Yes.
He's on video speeding away.
okay, how the fuck, Bryan Etten, do you say he's on speeding away? Do you know that the car that's at 420 and 48 seconds, it cannot be the car that y'all are talking about? Why don't you go look at the Sunset Mart video? You guys, there is multiple white cars, at least two. Then you tie in Eric Gower and his bullshit that he fucking told, oh, guess what? I was actually driving people, and I actually turned on my Lyft app back on after I shut off all my apps, but then I turned Lyft back on. They don't go and get the Lyft search warrant. They don't even serve a subpoena or a search warrant to Lyft. Are you kidding me? He says that Eric Gower says he went to Indian Hills. Excuse me? We have him in the back of the body cameras being worn right there, minor in possession. Guess what vehicle's coming past? Going up and grabbing people from the King Road house 1119, 1112, that area over there. People are getting in a vehicle, and then here he comes at 3:12 and then 3:14. Wait, what time is that car over there at Indian Hills? Well, 3:26, Lana. Oh, it is? Oh shit. Okay. What did he do that night? He said he picked up somebody and did it, and then these people were like, oh, a cop picked us up. What? I mean, all of this shit. I dissect the all of the interviews. I dissect the reports. I put them in chronological order. And I have the help of some really cool ass motherfucking people, okay, that we divide and conquer things with. And what we're putting together is a timeline that there is no wiggle room. This stuff needs to be accounted for. There are reports of cops blatantly lying. And how and why are you lying so early on in a case that it shouldn't matter if you made a fucking loop around the goddamn Queen area and how many times you did it? But why would you be saying that you did it and you did it multiple times and you didn't do it once? Unless you were in a different car or unless you did it on foot. But that's not what you said. You said every time you were in the car and that you were the one that was driving and then you went like this and did this. I would sit there for a whole day if it had to, where I played every single clip. And I said, is that your car? Is that your car? Is that your car?
Yeah.
Arriving and then
One-way road. One-way road.
Speeding off. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, all of the reports from before.
One-way road. You guys. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Damn.
Of his behavior at WSU. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, I can't blame this anymore. Like, y'all need to watch, because if they don't watch, if you're choosing not to watch things to be educated about something, then the blame also goes on you then. So right there, Enton is pumping absolutely ridiculous. He says he reads the shit. Well, Enton, you clearly don't. Okay, you clearly don't. But if you want to pump this, don't agree with this. It's crazy. I'm not a liar, and I show my work, and I put it out right in front. The path of travel for that car is not the car from WSU. Period. Like 1,000%. There are 5 different ways to look at it for you to show that it is not that car, and a jury would have seen it that way. Just facts. There is no fog lights, motherfuckers. None. The car that's coming over from WSU has fog lights. So right there, that should be alone the reason that you're like, okay? You cannot just have a car poof start on Indian Hills at 326. Oh my God, the same street that Eric Gower was going over to? Mm-hmm. Yep. And he dropped somebody off there? Mm-hmm. Yep. Wow. Wow.
It's not like there wasn't any evidence here.
Wait. Listen to this. Let's hear Bryan and talk about there's any evidence here. Well, let's see what he says before that to lead up to this. Let's talk about the evidence that Bryan Etten is relying on here.
I don't even, like I said, I don't even know what I would be referring to as mistakes because I don't.
Well, a mistake would easily be like you're in front of the murder house doing minor in possession when you should be up there at the King Road house. I mean, that would be an example of why some people are like.
Interesting.
But I mean, at the end of the day, his DNA is on the knife sheath.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He's on video speeding away.
Yeah.
Arriving and then
one-way road.
Speeding off. I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, all of the reports from before of his behavior at WSU. I mean, I don't know. It's not like there wasn't any evidence here.
It's not like there wasn't any evidence here. What the fuck, Bryan Etten? Somebody needs to clip that. That is what he determined as the evidence was. There's a sheath there. Yep, there sure is. But guess what? You don't even get to testing that sheath without what? Your probable cause, which led you to what? Obtaining Bryan Kohberger's DNA to be doing any of that. So what type of evidence do we have here? Well, I thought the strongest evidence was the car and the phone traveling in sequence. But when I found out that shit is not true and it's a fucking lie, oh my God, not only is it not true, but they lied. They lied knowingly that they knew it wasn't true. That's right there. You lied about that. What else? I mean, this is crazy. But he didn't have anything to say. He's like, the sheath and the WSU reports, the police reports that came after the fact. When I say after the fact, I'm not talking about whatever they reported on him beforehand. I'm talking about what we've gotten to see, the Idaho State Police reports. None of that is evidence of a fucking crime. God damn it, Bryan. None of that is evidence of a crime. You want to talk about behavior? Then we have to talk about the 13 written up reports that we have not seen that I want to see. I believe that they exist, but WSU ain't never going to cough those up. That's why they're getting sued.
It's a big one for me. And a lot of people may think, oh, this is totally normal. But when he was arrested, 100% confirmed myself by me, he was sitting in his kitchen at whatever time it was back in Pennsylvania, late at night, early in the morning, whatever it was, wearing gloves, sorting trash into baggies. Why would somebody be doing that?
And then run.
Is that normal? They said, and by the time they got into the house, they had eyes on him. That's what he was sitting there doing. By the time they got into the house, he took off running and they ultimately arrested him on the stairs. But yes, he was sitting at the kitchen table sorting trash.
So they did, but they announced the police are here, and they kicked down the door. The rest of his family stood exactly where they were. Only one person ran away and tried to hide. Only one. Actions speak louder than words, people. He's going through his trash and the cops say, "We're here," and he runs off. But some people get it, some people don't.
He turned off his phone.
Wait, you're telling me that his parents were up at 1:30 in the morning, just kicking it there in her nightie, just all sitting around the table watching Bryan separate the trash? This is the first I've ever heard about the fact that the Kohbergers were all sitting around the kitchen table sorting trash, or that Bryan was sorting the trash with gloves on, and that the family's sitting around him, and that, hey, the cops are here. And he's running off. Only thing I will say about that area is they are so strict about your trash. You have to divide it into those bins. But I don't know. I don't know how it's fact. They said that they didn't wear body worn cameras. They said that they don't have any of this. So what, did somebody secretly record it? Because you can't do that in Pennsylvania. It's wiretapping. Okay. You can't. Wow. Let's see the video. If anybody has a video of that and it's not the police's video, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying saying I know 100% for a fact this, while she's believing the person that told her this.
and he had not shut his phone off like that from the cell, who is it? Cellbrite? The Cellbrite
basically
forensics said he had not turned his phone off like that in 9 months. So it's not like, dude, I turn my phone off every night. Like some people do. So some people say that's not really that weird. Well, do you turn it off at 1:56 a.m. and then turn it back on at 4?
Yeah.
He didn't shut off at 1:56 though. Now we're getting a new timestamp. Maybe she means 2:56. 1:56. Wow.
32.
I just hate that you guys feel like you still have to prove this.
Well, we only have to do this
Who
because
has to
Thompson's
prove
retired
what?
and he gave up on the case and thought that if I do a deal, my job's done.
It all goes away.
I have no responsibility to these families. I have no responsibility to my community. I have no more responsibility to you camera people. I feel like as long as there's a story to be told, that somebody needs to be working through that courthouse and clearing this up. It shouldn't be us. It should be one of them till they're exhausted in the face, beating these stories in there. It shouldn't be us. And if you say it shouldn't be us,
I've tried to call Steve. I tried to ask these people if they would do an interview. Come fucking tell me I'm an idiot. Nobody will do interviews. Shit, I'll call right now. I will call right now. Danny Vargas, I want to know. I want to talk to you. Danny Vargas, come on down. I mean, people witness me on my show. I call, I leave messages. You think they're just like waiting to call me right back? Hi, Leanne, I got your message. Yeah, when do you want to throw down, girl? No. No. We got to send like Panera over there, man. We'll send some vegan food next time.
we agree. But who else is going to step in here? Because we were quiet for months. And guess what? Release after release after release. And it had to be.
Guess what? This is what's going to get the media that has the money involved. And that's why I'm loving this. These people's, we need help. We need help to get these FOIA requests. It's a ton of money. Okay. They're asking for astronomical amounts of money to get shit. Unless we're using our brains to the point of like figuring out ways to, hey, they have to release this because of this and they didn't do that. Blah, blah, blah. That's what we're all doing. Where's the media that has all the fucking money? This is what will get that out. So, right, what he's saying right here, he says, we were quiet. We were quiet. And it was release after release after release. Okay. Slow drip after slow drip. So I would, if I was Steve, I'd be saying, hey, help us get all of these records so that this can all come out at once. We cannot keep going through this. Think about it. Then the media people, okay, you want us to cover it? Okay. Oh, you want us to cover it? Yeah. That, what is the family's wishes? These people weren't covering stuff because the family's wishes weren't to cover it. Now go, hey, spend your money and go get us all this shit so there isn't a slow drip. And I'm all for it. Hell yeah. Get the material, man. Let's go.
Redacted because they did it wrong. And we were the ones picking up the phone or email and saying, you realize there's bodies in these photos, right? You guys realize you're not very good at what you're doing. You need to pull these back. So that's
you guys realize they suck.
what happens when we
social
get
security
quiet.
numbers, fingerprints and social security numbers,
Fingerprints
dates
and social security number of college grads. These guys aren't bad people. These people have dedicated their lives to be like the best of the best. And you're gonna go give out their information so somebody could steal it?
That was a mistake. Whoops.
Oh, we're gonna give them 5 years of protection. Yeah, well, that doesn't cut it. That doesn't cut it.
It's a mistake. Whoops.
Oh, we're gonna give them 5 years of protection. Yeah, well, that doesn't cut it. That doesn't cut it.
We're going to give them 5 years of what?
Yeah, they basically offered those people after we told them what they did. They're like, well, we'll give them 5 years of protection for their credit history. No, you'll do it for the rest of their lives.
Well, and the one photo was pretty clearly, you could see.
Oh my God, that's what that's about. They gave them 5. We're going to pay for them to have 5 years protection on their. Oh my God. I think it was like Hunter Johnson. His
body
number went
I
out.
don't know how they missed that or didn't check it.
How do you miss a social security number?
Yeah.
You can't send a social security number to a hospital and not get flagged. Okay. We have systems that literally just understand that sequence of code gets flagged. So what were these guys doing? What?
Yeah.
And fingerprints right along with them. So if you just really want to take on this person's identity, there you go.
The crime scene photos were
Susan, thank you.
bad. They were bad.
Yeah, they were inappropriate. You shouldn't lose your right to be a human being just because you died. And just because you were murdered in your bed, you're going to lose your right to HIPAA protections. Like, what? So I could go kill a bunch of people and then they lose all their right to their privacy?
I get that.
You get to share that? Like, we don't want to live in a world like that. That's not the kind of laws we want to defend. At least I don't.
Is there anything I mean, that you guys can do? I mean, it shouldn't be your responsibility, but are they going to try to change any laws? Do you know? I mean,
We're trying to change laws. We were just talking to the management of Brad Little Friday and saying, hey, just the same thing. When somebody kills somebody, like, because we were literally, there's a mental evaluation of the psychopath. And even though Thompson didn't want to use psychopath in the courtroom because he's a weak, pathetic prosecutor.
I guess it's not a real mental illness or something. I don't know.
He searched on his own phone. He searched up that he was a psychopath, but he didn't want to use it in court. So those type of things, that's his private HIPAA. So I'd be violating his rights if I went and looked at his HIPAA,
His medical
evaluation.
records.
But he can kill my daughter, and the whole world gets to see those records. That's not what Idaho's going to stand for. Idaho will not stand for that. You're not going to murder someone and then their records get blasted out for the rest of the world to see and make profit off and watermark, and then they basically can make money off it because that's the system that.
So people are putting their
watermarks
logo, like their podcast,
like it's their property, the property to our kids' worst moments of their.
Okay, the only thing I will say about that, only thing I can say is, I don't know if they're talking about like at the bottom of like the corner of the screen, because like my videos are always got the little bomb at the bottom of the right, but I know that that's not what they're talking about. It's when you take the document. But I will tell you this: if they are fucking making you pay. So when we get these FOIA requests, the Freedom of Information Act, my fucking ass. This shit ain't free. Freedom of Information Act. No. Okay, I got a nice little running tally total over here to how much I've been spending. We're paying for this. Now, I don't think trying to think. I think what I put my marks on was like the body worn camera. I think it's been body worn camera. The video. If I make a pre-recorded video, it's my logo, like Bryan Enton does. I don't know what he's talking about. Right here in the corner, Bryan Enton investigates. That's a watermark. Okay, that's a watermark right there, Bryan Enton. Right there, Bryan Enton. So if I was to try to cover that up, it's a big no-no. You're not supposed to cover up people's watermarks. Okay. Fair use is one thing. That's why you have to like show it. Hey, this is what it is. It's commentary. It's educational. It's, but if I was to I would never cut up what these people said ever and then make it seem like they said something that they didn't. That's not fair fucking use. It happened to me all the time. And I'm like, you fucking stupid fucks. I said, watch, the cream always rises to the top though.
They're going to, how dare you share that? How dare you post it on your page? It belongs to me.
And I don't post any of that stuff on our page. I mean, I would never share the photos. I get it. If you're going to look at them, you're going to look at them.
But I don't.
People are fighting over people posting what?
But
a system that supports this kind of behavior and makes it legal.
I don't like all the, just the very bottom feeders just sharing them and documenting and talking about them and blowing them up and zooming in. I don't like that aspect of it. Be professional with them. There is a professional manner that they could be handled. Be professional.
I think that they're talking about our channel right here. I do want to say that.
With them, with your entity. Don't.
That's a good point. Is the professionals have moved on to the next story that matters, and they should have. And now we have these cesspool, trailer trash type style people. And we need to make a law that, unfortunately, has to regulate the people that are at the lowest common denominator and say, you guys can't profitize, and create this cesspool of lies. And because eventually, after 10 years, this could form into like what happened with, I don't know the case, but it was in the Bay Area where he killed his wife and put concrete and sunk her down.
Oh, Lacey Peterson.
Peterson just got a case. So this stuff can form up and can actually create a momentum and go somewhere. So I'm not gonna stand quiet and do that and try to do what happened to the Peterson family. I don't want to do that.
Innocent.
So I'm trying to nub
shit,
it right now because I've seen what
though.
happens. So people say that there's no point to do it, but there is a point.
I don't understand why, if you're a journalist like me, you couldn't.
I get it. You guys, I'm going to start calling myself a journalist with a twist.
You have to go see them in person. I've seen that some places, you show up and they're like, okay, you're in the room. We'll give you the file, but you don't get to take them with you.
That's exactly what I said to go do. I said, hey, if you want to see certain things, go show up, go to Moscow, and you're going to be able to see certain ones that you want to see. But absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. The Peterson case, I'm telling you, is going. He didn't commit the crime. They fucking Jesus. Those Modesto cops and they're pieces of shit that were working with the Hells Angels people over there. And no, we cannot have any of this linking back to what Lacey saw across the street with the burglary. Okay? Because Lacey, she freaking owned it, man. She would go up to you and had no fear and was like, what the fuck do you think you're doing in our little town here? You know, we're trying to clean it up. And, you know, that wasn't just a little, it was an organized burglary.
You just want to understand more, or you're writing a book or whatever. You know what I mean?
Or launch an appeal. If you want to go there and sit there and look at it all and then come back and be like, oh, that was a lot worse than I thought it was going to be. Fine. I'm not trying to
lodge an appeal. Exactly.
hide evidence. I'm just trying to keep ghouls from turning my kid into a cash cow because my kid dead is worth more than them alive. That's what some of these losers are.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. They'll make more money off of our dead kids than they'll make off of their own freaking efforts. It's terrible. It's disgusting. And watermarking things like this, think twice about that because that's really low. That's really low.
Yeah.
Well, I
appreciate
people are watermarking the crime scene photos because those are free. You know, ISP just put them out.
You guys for talking to me. I know it's.
I appreciate you giving a mic and helping clear these things out. And we hope to not have to do it all the time, but everyone's.
There you go. Thanks for giving us a mic.
Well, we want to just come back, kick the door down and say, hey, we're here. We're fighting for these kids. And there ain't no truth to it. And I'd love for professionals to do this. And if they do it, then we will be quiet. But of course, we're here.
Well, I get what you're saying though. You know,
he wants the people that ran the investigation to come out and speak on this, right? I mean, what do you mean the professional? I mean, do you want the people that were the experts? Because we've reached out to them. So have other people that I know that, and nobody's like, they're all gagged or they won't talk. So I mean,
just because there was a plea deal, it's not really over for you guys, and it's
not over for the whole community.
You know, I mean, as they release documents,
I need to explain them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying too. If you don't sort of tamp things down, it's like suddenly there's a petition, and then the next thing you know, in like 10 years, it's like, oh, let's reopen the case. You know, it's like,
no, it's like, and when you do a dump and you go over it and you're clearly educated with it, and you clearly are reading through things and reading them out loud and going over them, and that's great. It's just when they just read just what the defense says and not anything of the prosecution says, and they just go with that, and they're like, oh my gosh, the bodies were posed and the sheath was planted, because this is all what their experts were going to say in a trial. It would have been their expert and their expert.
I think that's truly evidence.
Yeah. The prosecution could have spoke, and the defense would have spoke, and their experts would have got out there, and the jury would have been left to decide which one holds more weight, which one do I believe more, because they were going to say opposite things. But these people are just reading exactly what they want and cherry picking all the good stuff that they think is the good stuff, and then just creating this little web, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, not understanding that was just what the defense was going to be. That's the way it works. I mean, they come up with a theory, and that
dude, I wish I had some more energy right now, because I want to show you guys the mainstream media, what mainstream media is saying. They're the ones putting the taglines in there saying, that it's not what it was said to be. I say give no thoughts to, I mean, so I don't know. I also just don't give a fuck what anybody says. Fuck them. My work will be my work, and I don't give a fuck what you say or do. Because I'm not making shit. I'm not making shit up. But I know they're not talking about this channel, so I don't know. I just love that they want to fight back against the fucking the district attorney, the judge. Like, you guys made it so that we didn't have a trial, and now look at all this shit. This is what we told you, Bill, that we did not want. You couldn't promise us that none of this was going to come out. I know you promised that to the other families because you lied to them, and we told you to go piss on a tree, fly a kite, spin around, take Ashley with you. Yeah, you lied. They just lied, and now it's all coming out. Like, they thought that this wasn't going to come out. Of course, it's going to come out. It was all filed under the docket because Hitler made it that way. He wanted everything to be ready to go, and these two sides were literally ready for a trial. So they got paid all this money for all these years, and then got to bail on these families. I don't know. I think it's wrong. There should have been a trial. There should have been a trial. Yeah. Didn't Hitler say that Hitler was built for this case? Yeah, he said he's like fucking huge disappointment. He's a huge disappointment, Annie. Come on, man. Okay. You think someone's gonna like, nope, he's just a fluff. Hitler the Stifler. Okay, take a look at this. Wait, hold on, I go to the end. Let's see. Ed may have a couple of last words here.
But when you release it, it seems like
I want to know why all these people are fighting for him, though, when his own family's not fighting for him.
Well,
he's not fighting for himself. His own family has done nothing to. If he's innocent, his family's not. His mom has never gone on anything and said he is innocent. He was framed. He's not guilty. My son would never do this. His dad's not. His sister's not. His sister did an interview, so she's not running and hiding. She did an interview.
Yeah.
It was very vague.
But if he was innocent, he's obviously a smart person. He had a good, I mean, Ann Taylor was a good lawyer. You know, it seemed like.
She was.
I mean, they would have gone to trial. Like,
yeah.
That, you know, they wouldn't have ended up wanting a plea.
We can't say that Ann Taylor was not a fantastic attorney for him. I don't like the woman. She drove me nuts. I mean, should I like her? No. But we cannot deny that she did not do a damn good job.
See, like, I think what Christy really means there is kind of like, I don't like her. Unless you know somebody, I don't think you could ever say like, I don't like them. I just don't respect them, or I, you know, like, I don't like them. I don't know them to like them or not. But I think really what she means to say there, I truly do, is that she's just like, what am I supposed to like her? She's defending the guy that we think killed our, you know. I just think it was just like she's doing her job. That's just the best way to describe it. And what sucks in the world today is that the mainstream media thinks that they get to attack defense attorneys for doing their goddamn job, trying to go in to get them fired and shit like that. I think that, oh God, one day I'm going to get my reach, guys. I promise you, I'm going to get my reach. You know what? I'm growing out my hair back again. I was like, oh, okay. So if I just get sexy and put it all out there, hey, then everyone's just going to consider my opinion more. So let's go. Let's go. I'm just getting ready for camera / lingerie football season again. Let's go. Right? Is that what's going to take? I mean, sure. I chose to say, hey, look at my work, not me. But if it's like, hey, you want to look at me and my work? Okay, let's do it. Fuck. That was always my motto. Like, I just want you to look at my work. Okay, fine. Now I guess I'll just put you all to shame. Is that your hair? Oh, yeah, that's all my hair. It grows so fast. My hair grows so fast. I'm about to do dreads. Look out. Love Steve and that he's coming for a pin. Yes, absolutely. Fuck yeah. Absolutely. Me too. Listen. Everybody would be the same way. And if you wouldn't be the same way, then you ain't a parent, man. Okay. Somebody killed your kid. Whether it was 1, whether it was 5, who gives a fuck, right? Be respectful. You want to question things? Do it respectfully. Trust me. Nobody's going to say anything to anybody. You're allowed to question things. Do it respectfully. You don't have to go at people. So I think that I just think Bryan Etten. Send him an email and say, thank you, Bryan, for giving the Goncalveses a platform. Okay. They were 1000% uninterrupted. And I love it because guess what I have said this entire time? I'm like, why are people clipping them? Why are you doing that? Why are you just playing these little clips and then putting it like this and doing these little segments? I said, that is not how these people need to be perceived by all of us, because you're twisting stuff when you do that in a way. And I just let them speak. So thank you so much, Bryan. And you get a ton more, like right here, notches. Now, Bryan, let me come and speak to you and let me show you the paperwork and to say why, hey, we need to start putting these cops and these lawyers and these judges on Front Street. Because if you think that this is going to happen again, that is the definition of insanity, is when you do the same thing and expect a different outcome. The people in Idaho are doing the same thing and they're expecting a different outcome. And that's insanity. And that means there's going to be another big problem. So don't give them a pass. Stop giving these people passes. And I know that Steve's not. I know that Steve and Christy aren't. And anybody and everybody is going the fuck down. I know it. And I love it. And I'm here for it. Love it. Hell yeah. Okay. Give them grace. All these parents grace. It's all going to come out. I'm telling you, it's going to come out. And the bomb is coming. A humongous bomb is coming. Believe me or not, but when I say something like that, I mean it. And there's a big bomb coming. I think Bryan had a couple more words, so I don't want to cut him shy here. And then I have something to show you guys. So
for him, she gave it her all, and she got to the end of the rope.
She's still getting paid for the case. We found out.
She knew that there was nothing else to do. There was nothing else she could do. It was done. It was over. She was just like, look.
She's still getting paid because they have to do all the filings. That's what he means. Like every time that they're writing up, like, if should this be sealed or should this not be sealed, I mean that you're working.
We're going to trial.
I want to say it's over, but it makes me uncomfortable if she's still getting paid to work this case.
Why is she still getting paid?
It's a good question.
You guys, has anyone ever worked with a lawyer before? Let me tell you about working with a lawyer. You email them 15 minutes automatically. Boom. They read the email. Boom. Charge. What I'm about to do to Dana Bose on like 5 lives back to back in the Moore Drake case is going to literally drop yo chin. What I'm about to do to these lawyers that have been billing these clients, and guess what all you have to do is, hey, give me your bills and let me put this shit out there. Let me show how Idaho runs things and does things and how this is 100% illegal and that they should not only lose their license to ever practice again, but this is criminal. It's fraud. Fraud is criminal. You're frauding me. You're frauding the courts. You're frauding me, though, if you're stealing from me. If you're writing a bill up and you really didn't do any of those services, right? This is what they fucking do. And I'm like, let's fucking go. Okay, I'm so sick and tired of these lawyers. Who the fuck gets paid $500 to $1,000 an hour? To do what exactly? To do what? You want to litigate and be in a courtroom? And I'm going to pay you $500 to $1,000 an hour. But then I'm going to pay you that same amount for you to prep my case, right? But I'm going to pay you that same amount when you have to open up an email? Are you kidding me? That's insanity. No offense, but I would never charge $500 to $1,000 an hour. Who the fuck do I think I am? Think about that. I get that my time's valuable. I understand that. But how these lawyers operate is if you have a lawyer for 1 week, who makes money off of that if they close your deal like that? Okay? If I put a price tag on you and know that I have you as a client for a year or 2 years or 3 years, I know that I'm getting X amount of dollars. And we have lawyers and working together that are on the opposite sides that drag stuff out. And then you want to mix in cases like this one where the state is paying for it all. That should be a conflict of interest in and of itself. But at the end of the day, these lawyers, fuck. Absolutely crazy. $500 to $1,000 an hour.
We've been told that that's 100%
You know, there's some of them out there that are like, shit, I get paid $15 to $2,000 an hour.
accurate. She is. So I remember her saying that she hadn't looked at over all the information, all the details.
I think it's
So-
just until everything, I mean, she obviously has all of
He's
it.
convicted. She should be off the case from every expert I've talked to, but she's still on it. Some deal that probably Thompson did. This is my
Maybe
own.
because I think both sides have to review all the records before the judge
Mhm.
signs off.
I would think that it's
So I think she's probably still getting paid because you know what I mean. They both
Going
have
through
to,
the
Oh, there you go. Finally. That's what it would be about.
videos.
yeah. So maybe it has something to do with that.
No, it's
Yeah.
about the damn. Do you guys see those motions that they're writing up? The motions take a long time to write. Trust me, I write my own. I make Bella read my revisions every couple hours. I'm like, I revised it again. Here it is.
I could see, but yeah. Well, if there's ever anything I can do for you, as always, let me know.
Absolutely. Steve and Christy, if there's anything I can ever do for you guys as well. Okay. Law school is extremely expensive, but it ain't that expensive. Okay. It ain't that expensive. So, okay. Ready. Let's take a look at something. I literally outlawyer, what is it? I literally outlawyers ISP legal department. Yeah. For crime scene pics, I wasn't paid $500 an hour to go back and forth for 6 months. Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. I started, for the first time I realized, I think it was 2 years ago, I was like, wow, I never realized how fucking, like, everyone's been giving so much credit to lawyers that they're, like, smart. You guys, they are not. I gave them way too much credit. Sorry. And I have people that are lawyers that are friends of mine. It doesn't mean I don't, but it's just, you're not some, like, sorry. It is what it is. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Give a shout. There it is. On December 15, 2022, I was notified of an officer-involved shooting. Okay. So I arrived to the intersection. We all know this, which had an elevator, so it's just talking about it. It's listing all these. So I utilized the DJI Air 2 UAV to forensically map the scene. During my flight, I observed a section of Main Street extending eastward from Stadium Way intersection approximately 400 feet was blocked by law enforcement. I observed 2 rifles on the sidewalk extending, so it's going through everything that it mapped. Okay. So Detective Sterrett, look at this, 1 vehicle. Green. Oshkosh. Okay, wait, what is that one, Lana? Well, this is what it had in it. Items that were located here. And I was like, holy shit. Here we go. This is Brent Kapaka. When you want to talk about the Brent Kapaka case. So I was like, look at this. This is pretty insane breakdown. Under the driver's seat, this is what you could find. 2 rounds. Remember, they were tossing these up into his, apartment. The blue ammo box containing 40 rounds and the grenades behind the driver's seat floorboard, and then it's putting out everything that it is. Take your screenshots of this. I'm putting this out for the purposes for Bubbly Waters. I want her to have this material. Okay. So this is what, so go ahead and take screenshots of this. Okay. Now look at this. Gray Ford F-150. This is their vehicle. There's another vehicle though, because they have a bunch of undercover cars, trucks, undercover everything. And so it got me thinking about, I personally believe that there was another undercover vehicle working that night. Remember the Idaho 4 case? I said, I think there would have been more than just 2 people working. I think there would have been 4. Okay. So please look and take a screenshot of this. Okay. And I'm going to zoom in. And so Sons of Liberty multi-loyal 9 rifle, that was one of them, right? And location of it, bed of truck. And I was like, bed of truck. Bed of truck. What? Where? Whoa, right? So everybody should put a little star right next to this one. Okay. Then 3 Exact. That was fine with that. Camouflage bag containing fabric, tape, and push pins. Black gloves and tan pants. I said I want to see a picture of the type of gloves that they use and wear. Okay. Only because I want to compare this to what? The Idaho 4 black glove. Right. Then okay. Rifle bag number 1, front right pouch. Rifle bag number 1, main pouch. Rifle bag number 2, bed of truck. So I'm like, this has to go with the rifle that should be in the bed of the truck, but we'll make sure. Okay, green bag number 1 containing gas mask, bed of truck. Suit with camouflage pants containing gas mask. I was like, look at all this shit. Large black tote. Okay, X26 taser. Two unfired gray door cartridges. Gas mask filter. Black goggles. Black metal water bottle. Black Hills ammunition box 2 rifle magazine. 20 unfired. 24 unfired. 6 unfired 12 gauge shells. They're just laying around. Spear ammunition. Ooh. 16 unfired 40. Black Hills ammunition large black tote. 82 unfired. Okay. Unfired cartridges. Unfired 12 gauge shell 1. Metal rifle magazine. 20 simulation round. Green SWAT mobile vest with 2. Okay. Rifle magazine. 30 unfired. Camouflage helmet. Green mesh vest with first aid field dressing. Green bag. Okay. Gray. 40. 3 pistol magazines. Pistol magazines. 8 unfired. So it's 30. Deputy Pilsner. Okay, here we go. Knife. Deputy Pilsner duty vest, upper right front, knife. Body cam. Okay. Where is the body cam? Deputy Pilsner duty vest. This is one of the guys that was going to be shooting, as well as the Boyd guy, right? And if SOG knife. Okay, camouflage backpack, driver side rear, buck knife and sheath. Let's see that. Bullet, survivor supplies, PMG magazine, 28 unfired. Okay, so then guess what I'm going to be doing with all of this? I'm going to be comparing this to everything that got shot off that night, right? But this is what I'm just putting out now ahead of time, so you guys know that a Brent Kopaka Live is coming. And the shit that we're about to pull off, okay, with the Brent shit, I'm going to release the entire 1,600 pages that I have. Okay. This one's for Bubbly Waters. Okay. So you're going to have to join me for what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 3 lives in a row, and it's going to be like X amount of pages, X amount of pages, X amount of pages. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show it all like this, put it all out there, and then that way you have the material. And this way here, now Let's go, you motherfucking sleuths. Okay? All eyes on deck. All brains. All right? And the only thing that I will be redacting is I won't be putting out anybody that did a FOIA request on material. I'm not putting your name out. Okay? Your secret is safe with me if you FOIA to try to get anything. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in having the community who is really good at finding anomalies, at finding, hey, is this, hey, send me your shit that you think you found. I'll vet it. Okay? Send me the emails. I'm going to put the material out. I want all hands on deck here. We have a bunch of people that are very intelligent. And if we work together, we can get this done really quick. And then I can put in another FOIA request to get more material based off of where we kind of go from here. But there's a couple of things that I saw. We'll talk about it, but here we go. He's already been given the material. I personally enjoy talking to Pav, and we talk. I like him. I think he is a very good dude. I think the same about Birdie. I think the same about Dago. I think the same about my mods. If I have you on my show or I go to your show, it's because I want to do that. And I encourage disagreeing. When somebody sees something different than I do, guess what I do? I actually go and I look at, hey, why do they think that? Let me see. I want to understand where they're coming from. And then sometimes there's more than one, hey, it could be this, it could be that, So, and Scott Roeder is coming on this week. We finalized it yesterday. So, at the end of the day, it takes a long time to go through stuff. But I was like, listen, I don't want you to be thinking that you're going to be on the stand or do anything like that. I already have the pictures that I want to show and the certain areas that I want and your opinion on. And it's more just like, so I'm going to be putting that as a disclaimer, is that when Scotty is going to be with me here, Scott Roeder, you have to understand, in order for me to get him all caught up with all the documents, I'm sorry, I'm not going to whip out 10 G's to have him come and do it like he would do a case. Okay. We can't afford that. But what we can afford is to give him the stuff that matters and ask him for his preliminary thoughts. Okay. And maybe it catches some of his attention that, hey, I actually want to see, let me see the back up. Let me see that really quick, so understand that. So when you're in chat, when we are doing the breakdown of the crime scene with a crime scene reenactment specialist expert, understand that this is a preliminary. And if you don't know what that means, you will be blocked for the rest of that day and you can come back the next day. All right. So that's all I have for today as far as the Idaho 4 case. I am going to go over, join me tonight for the Monique Tepe and Spencer Tepe. We're going to talk about the autopsies that came out. So there you go. Take it all, screenshot it. And you should have everything. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much. That is from, yeah. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you, Black Cat. Thank you, Karen. $99.99. Hey, y'all. Don Gates, what's up? Peace. Karen, $99.99. William, $5. Deborah, $4.99. Karen, $99.99. Where's my bell? What? Karen's like, nope. Now I want you to say $999.99. Lana, I think they heard Howard Blum mention aspirate. Yeah, but yeah, I just don't see it on the sheet. But I will look. I would love Scotty to answer that. While the secrecy, if BK is the only one and one and only, is he someone that is that important? It makes no sense. No, I think it's about this whole protection of the university and the both universities. It's a ton of money. If they did stuff stuff would come out, then they're responsible for certain things because we have to wait and see. Thank you so much, Martina. That's what I believe anyways. Young black economist, what is good? What is up? You are doing the Lord's work. Amen. Amen. Yuri, 5 people turning them green. Susan B, $5. Susan B, $5. Louis Little, welcome. New member, love it. Leela, $5 super sticker. Hoffmaster, hi. I'll take a goat. I'll raise you a sheep. V. Linder, you're the best. 22 months, man. That's a couple babies. Cheers. Hell yeah. Thank you so much. Cat K15, member for 24 months. Babies. We got some babies in the house. Moonvale. Thank you. Moonvale, what's good? 26 months. Best months of your life. Don't you lie. Leslie and Billy. Whoop, whoop. Do you guys have the same? Do you guys have like a Facebook? Like, you guys share Facebook, Leslie and Billy? You guys know what I'm talking about. The couples that share Facebooks. Yeah. Jackie Bushable. Is that right? 23 months. It's becoming me. New member. Thank you. And Sherry, love it. You guys all rock. Thank you so much. Thank you to the members, subscribers, lurkers. You're going to have an opinion about this video. Thumbs it up, share it, thumbs it down. I don't care what you do. Do something. Do not just sit there. Bootsy, 2 months. Got to start summer, right? It just starts flying by. All right, let's go get it. Join me back later on this evening. I'll put a thumbnail out for the Monique and Spencer Tepe. We have the autopsy results are in, and it's awful. 16 total shots, 9 and 7. 9 and 7. Can you believe that? I can't. All right. Next time.